Alright. 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 Gosh, it constantly echoes. There we go. Bloody hell. Always forget to turn it down. Hey everybody, there is Werrell here, and welcome back to more Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. Now, I hope, and I would say I promise, but I'm not entirely sure, that this will be the last time I'll be recording Spirit of Justice, because I'm hoping to finish the game in this session. I know I've been on a right kick of it lately, and people are probably sick of seeing it, but I don't know, this game really grabs me, and I just don't want to stop playing it, especially when I'm so close to actually finishing everything. That just makes me want to record it even more. Either way, let's go. Investigation Day 2. Let's go! So the first session was 3 hours. I get the feeling this is probably going to be about the same. Which I don't mind. So, wait, what happened? I'm just trying to think what we last did. We proposed the possibility that there were 2 weddings. And then, I think, was it Pierce that came onto the stand and said that it was all, like, that was planned? Or something? I can't quite remember. Either way. What? So the whole time travelling thing was just a ruse put on by the guests at the reception? There we go. Looks like it. I knew there had to be some kind of trick to it. Wow, 2 wedding receptions. Can you imagine? I wonder how much that must have cost them. I have no idea. But if you have to ask, you're not rich enough to want to know. Still, if you've got the money, it's a pretty good way to cover things up, if you ask me. You got that right. I'm sure I would have been completely fooled. Oh yeah, they did the 2 receptions to, like, cover up the fact that Ellen killed Gloomsbury. Like, that's what has been said, but whether or not that's the case, I highly doubt. Hi, I'm back. Hey Maya, are you all set to go? Yep, ready when you are. So, what should we start with? Let's start with reviewing what we learned at the trial. Oh, here we go. What Ellen thought was time travel was really just a performance put on by the Sprockets. But other than that, it seems that what Ellen told us was actually all true. So what really matters right now is the identity of the mystery person Ellen said she saw while she was being attacked. So who is this mystery person? That's the $1,000,000 question, I'm afraid. But if we want to clear Ellen of any suspicion, then figuring out who they are is key. I think I'll take toilets for $200 instead, Mr. Wright. Well, at least there were only so many people on the airship that night. And we know who the mastermind of the whole cover-up plot was too, so that's good. You mean the groom? Soren Sprocket, right? Exactly. He might know something that could help us out. But whether he's willing to help, who knows? So then, what am I doing here? Oh, it's Larry. I'm a very, very busy man, you know. Well, all of the other people involved are Soren's family members. So I thought I'd better start by interviewing you. Even if I probably shouldn't trust a word out of your mouth. Oh man. I have a really tight schedule, but... oh heck, what are friends for, right? Okay pal, go ahead, ask me anything. You do remember it was you who came to me for help in the first place, right? I like Larry. He's just such an idiot. A lovable idiot, but still. The incident. I want to go over exactly what happened when... oh, what happened when before I step outside this office again. Since you were there, Larry, do you think you could help me get it all straight in my head? If I gotta. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the first reception was held at 7 PM on the day of the incident. That's the one you tried to crash, right? Huh? Oh, yeah, that's right. And then they locked me up in a cabin. It was awful, I tell you. Too bad we're not here to focus on you, Larry. and then the incident occurred after this first reception, at around 10 PM. Oh. Ellen was attacked in the reception hall by Gloomsbury. He forced her out onto the Vista deck and was just about to kill her. We never brought up the note, like the murder note, but Ellie fought back and ended up killing old Gloomsbury instead. To cover it up, the family quickly threw together a second reception. That's what Edgy is claiming anyway. But I know my Ellie didn't do it. The key point here is the mystery person Ellen said she saw strike Gloomsbury just before she passed out. So she passed out and they moved her to her room, to where she thought she had travelled back in time. Did you see anybody suspicious skulking around that day? Nope, not a soul. Because I was locked up in a cabin at the time. But you managed to escape and sneak back into the reception hall. That's when you switched the lantern in the event hall with the lantern in the hall, right? Did you see anybody then? Nope, the place was completely deserted. I guess because that Pierce Butler guy had everybody gathered together somewhere. That makes sense. He must have been going over the cover-up plan with them. So clearly, the murder had already happened by the time Larry got out. They must have gotten everything ready fast, and had the second reception soon after that. Then after that second reception, Ellie went to clean up the reception hall, and found the body. And as luck would have it, that's when she found the body in the lantern I'd brought up. I tried to do something nice for Ellie out of the goodness of my heart, and this happened. We still don't know exactly what happened during the actual murder itself. We'll just have to look into it, along with the identity of that mystery person. The cabin. So while the murder was taking place, you were locked up in a cabin. Did you see anything unusual while you were in there? In the cabin? Let's see. Well, there was that pterodactyl flying through the sky. That's pretty unusual. Yeah, how the hell do you explain that? Oh right, that drawing of that pterodactyl you saw. What's with all the air quotes? I really did see it, I swear. It was just a picture. But Larry, the time travel thing never actually happened. Which means you couldn't have seen a real pterodactyl flying through the sky. Oh. Are you doubting the eye of a super popular picture book author? No, I'm just sure you saw something else, and mistook that for a flying reptile. Nick, you're making me doubt my own eyes. Now I'm not even sure what I saw. Somehow I just bit the inside of my cheek. I've never done that before. It's the first time I bit it while talking. God. Larry's drawing. A drawing Larry made, he probably mistook something for what he claims is a pterodactyl in this picture. So that gets updated. Either way, you have no idea what actually happened at the real scene of the murder. That's right, and I can say that with every confidence. Oh wow, would you look at the time? I'd better go. I have a book signing to get to. A book signing? Whose book? Whose do you think? It's mine, of course. It's a Laurice Donham book signing. I bet you went around and begged a bunch of bookstores to let you do one. Of course not. They're the ones coming around to beg me. Looks like I guessed right. Anyway, I have to go. I'll send you 10 copies of my new book that just got released the other day, alright? 10? That's very generous of you. What are you talking about? I'm gonna send you the bill too, of course. Just put them down as office expenses or something. Well, see ya. What a dick. Wait, Larry, we don't need... Oh, he's gone. I'll take a copy, boss. Oh, and make sure it's signed. Oh boy, Trucy's not gonna like this office expense. There goes our first lead. What do you want to tackle next, Nick? Right, we should really hit the streets now, huh? How about we go see Ellen? Sounds good, boss. I bet I can cheer her up. I thought you were going to help Trucy with her magic show again today, Athena. Weren't you supposed to go meet her right about now? Trucy said she was going to practice her new trick on you, if I recall. On me? Really? Trucy shows an important source of income for our agency, you know? You can leave the case to us, so you go ahead and run along now. But boss... Off you go, Athena. No! I don't want to die. Poor thing. I've just realised this case, at least so far, has been one where we haven't really had to use any tricks, aside from the Cyclock breaking stuff. But in the actual trials, we've not had to use any perceiving, we've not used therapy sessions. Quite interesting, really. We better get going too, Maya. Okay. I wonder why they never actually made it so that you unlocked psych locks in the middle of a trial. That'd have been a cool thing to do, I think. But then again, if you had all the evidence to dismantle a psych lock, then they would have made it so you dismantled it beforehand. Oh no, I just think it would have been cool. Oh, she's cleaning. Again. My god. Oh, my poor sweet Soren. I wonder how he's getting along without me. Hello, Ellen. Oh god, she's gonna start crying. Oh, Mr. Wright, what's gonna happen to the trial do you think? Well, first and foremost, we have to hurry up and find this mystery person you saw just before you passed out. You think that person could be the real killer? It's quite possible. And if we can prove that, we can clear you of all charges. Actually, would you happen to know where Soren is right now? He's usually busy with meetings all afternoon, but he should be home by evening. Oh my god. I think I'd better go have a chat with him later then. Why am I being treated to a view of someone's underwear? Mr. Wright, don't tell me. You suspect my sweet Soren? Well, he is the one who masterminded the second reception after the time skip. So I thought he might be able to tell us something. How could you, Mr. Wright? You can't possibly think my Soren would never kill anyone. Alright. Just calm down. No, not if you're accusing my Soren. Please, I'm not accusing anybody, so please put the pan and ladle down, alright? Really? Cross my heart. So for now, would you mind if I ask you a few more things about the case? Oh, she's gonna start crying. Oh, never mind. Phew. I better be careful not to provoke her. She really does pull herself together. Soren. I've also just realised her dress has like a heart right on the front of it. Could you tell me about Soren? There's nothing to tell. He's squeaky clean. Alright, okay. Maybe I should avoid the topic of Soren right now. Well, let's talk about something else then. Fine, but you won't hear a peep out of me about Soren. Talk about pulling teeth. Okay, Pierce Nicody. Or Nickody. Could you tell me about Pierce wait. I'm thinking if that's a pun, or if it's just an actual name. Nickody... Pierce... No. I got nothing. Can you tell me more about Pierce Nickody? Okay, the more I say it, the more I'm like, that sounds like it could be a pun. Whatever. Pierce... He came to Sprocket Manor about a year ago. As the family butler, he's now in charge of everything in the household. Only a year ago? Did he have some kind of special connection with the family? I'm just a maid, so I'm not privy to such things, I'm afraid. It might have been Soren's order, but Pierce is the one who coordinated the whole thing. He's the one who really orchestrated the grand time travel farce. He must have quite a bit of authority in that family. And I'm still holding a little bit of hope that he did it. But no matter how good he is at his job, how could anybody gain that much influence in a single year? I really don't know. I mean, he is an excellent butler. Wouldn't that explain it? Is it really as simple as that? Time travel. What you thought was time travel was really just a cover-up carried out by your in-laws. Pierce said Soren was the one who ordered the whole thing. I still can't believe it, even if the second reception was fake. It felt surreal. Soren would never use time travel for something like that. He's very serious about this time machine, about his time machine research, you know? I heard there's a reason he's researching time machines, actually. I'm pretty sure I already deduced what that was. It's because of his sister. Something about something he wishes he could change. Again, I think it was so he could save his sister. But isn't the whole idea of travelling back in time itself a little fantastic? I don't think so. After all, Soren said real time travelers do exist. Really now? You think he knows someone who actually travelled through time? That's right. I haven't seen it personally, but Soren said as much. So I believe it. Somebody who actually travelled through time, huh? It's pretty hard to believe. Thank you, Ellen. You're going out to do your investigation now, aren't you? Yeah, that's right. Please make sure you don't cause Soren any trouble, okay? I'm afraid I can't promise you that. What? Oh no. Please, whatever you do, please don't accept my poor Soren any further. I'm begging you. I'll do my best not to cause him any unnecessary trouble. I couldn't bear it if Soren ever came under suspicion. He'll be fine. Oh no. I'd rather be found guilty myself. Yikes. Ellen, please, don't wake yourself up like this. You don't want Soren to worry, do you? Ah, her like nose is running. Gross. Oh hey Alice. How's it going? Alright, now I can leave. No, you're right. And the floodwaters recede once more. So what do we do now, Nick? Well, Ellen said Soren is usually in meetings until the evening, so... let's save our house call until then. Why don't we go to the mooring dock and figure out our next move from there? Roger, Nick. Alright, so I can move. Nice. I'm also pretty good. As for the game I'm playing, it's Ace Attorney. Spirit of Justice. Wait, where is it we're going? The mooring dock and then to the hold, I think? I'm currently investigating a murder. Trying to figure out who did it. So, where should we start? Let's see. Are there any places we haven't examined yet? We already investigated the reception hall, and Sprocket Manor. I know, we haven't looked at the Vista deck or the hold yet. Yeah, you're right. We've still got some pretty important places left to examine, don't we? We do indeed. The Vista deck is the actual scene of the murder, right? And the lantern with the body in it was stored in the hold. I think there's a good chance we'll find some important clues in those locations. I suppose it doesn't really matter where I go first. Do we know how to get to the hold? Good question. I think it was labelled in that diagram on the airship in this pamphlet. Yeah, it's on the lower. Right at the bottom. There it is. Do I get to choose? Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Right, where am I going? Hold. Oh, I don't get to choose. I can only go to the hold. Ooh. Whoa. This is a fancy place. So this is the hold. This is where Pierce orchestrated the whole cover-up operation. We'd better go over this place with a fine-tooth comb. Hey Nick. Weren't we supposed to need a keycard to get in here? Huh? You're right. I wonder why it was unlocked. How's it going, Mr. Wright? Hey, Emma! That's why we could get in. Emma, what are you doing here? Just a little independent investigating, for my own sake. Gotta keep the mind sharp. Ah, so the door security system was turned off for the police investigation. We'd like to investigate the hold ourselves. Would that be alright? Yeah, sure. The police just finished their examination anyway. Thanks. We'll just take a quick look around then. Let's do it. Oh, right. You should know that the floor doubles as a huge lift. Wait, what? Oh, wait. You can use that lever way back there to raise it up to the Vista deck. Oh. Interesting. I wonder if what's-his-face was No, maybe he was killed on the Vista deck and then they used the lift to bring him down to the hold. I was thinking of it in reverse. The police inspected it already but didn't find anything of particular interest, it seems. If you do go up to the Vista deck with the lift, be careful not to fall off. Got it. Thanks. That goes double for you, Maya. Yes, ma'am. Well, let's get the show on the road. Huh. Yeah, the fact that that's a lift all the way up to the Vista deck is highly suspicious. Oops, not what I wanted to do. I want to talk first. The incident. Give me the lowdown. Any progress with your investigation? Nothing conclusive yet, I'm afraid. Almost everybody was involved with the cover-up. So it's hard to know who or what to believe. I know what you mean. Unless you have some compelling evidence, I'm afraid it's going to be a tough trial for you. That and we're against Edward. You're telling me. There isn't much time left, so Just got to make do and see what I can turn up. Oh, there we go. I guess that's everything. Alright, what can I look at? Ooh, a cake. Ooh, it's a cake, Nick. A cake! It's so big, they wouldn't miss one little piece, would they? If you're that in the mood for a mouthful of styrofoam, sure, knock yourself out. You mean it's not real? Well, it sure fooled me. We're so ready to have some that I'm really craving cake now. Come on, Nick. Let's go get some. Maybe after the trial is over. I thought we were gonna go and, like, have the burgers. I think just any food. Right, that must be what takes us up to the Vista deck. Got controls, we have plates, flowers. These are the flowers we saw in Larry's photo. The petals make them look like little gears. The perfect flower for the Sprocket family, huh? Maybe they were going to shower the couple with the petals. You mean kind of like how people throw rice or confetti? Yeah, like that. Only these were found at the scene of a murder instead. Plates? These must be the dishes and glasses they use for the reception? Or for receptions? Very fancy. I bet we'd be in big trouble if we broke any of them. Oh, I want to see Nick. You, young lady, need to stay far, far away from them. Nick, you think I'm going to break them, don't you? Yeah. Let's just say your rap sheet for breaking things doesn't help your case. What else is there? That's the lift. I don't want to interact with the lift because I don't want to go to the Vista deck yet. Ooh. Huh? It looks like there are some fingerprints on this. Oh god, how do you say that? Is that candelabra? Or candelabra? Candelabra. Yeah, I just got done dusting that. Oh, dusting for prints, eh? I was able to pull a set of left-hand prints. Do you know whose prints they are? Yes. The prints belong to the victim, Dumbass Gloomsbury. I brought this up when we saw his body. They said he was right-handed. And I was like, you watch, he'll be left-handed. It certainly sounds like he might be. Nick, I just figured out something amazing. You did? Get this. If the fingerprints on the candelabra were from his left hand, then Mr. Doom and Gloom must have been left-handed. Okay, it comes into play now. What do you think of that? Do I have the makings of a great detective or what? Oh yes, your deductive reasoning skills are nearly encyclopedic. Hey, you're pretty good, Maya. I looked into it myself and sure enough, the victim really was left-handed. Really? I got it right? Awesome. Which means whoever wrote the note was not, Gloomsbury. Good for you, Maya. Good for you. That's all you've got to say. I think you did a real great job, Maya. Way to go! I guess one can never have too much info. Now you're talking. But come to think of it, this candelabra isn't in the photo Larry took of the hold, is it? That photo was taken when they were getting ready for the first reception, right? Candelabra must have been brought in here sometime after that then. What if that's the real murder weapon? Oh wait, no. If that's... Yeah, it can't be the murder weapon, that's what the victim was holding. It's still possible it has something to do with the incident, though. I better add it to the evidence file, just in case. Candelabra. Of the hold bearing fingerprints from Gloomsbury's left hand, which is his dominant hand. Ah. Oh, by the way, Mr. Wright. You can have this fingerprint powder if you like. You're giving this to us? Sure. I have 4 other sets. Thanks. I feel like there's something more to the candelabra, but I can't put my finger on it. Okay. Bit weird. No, I want to look at the note. It's not the statement. There it is. There it is. Yeah, the writing is smudged as though written by a right-handed person. So it's not Gloomsbury's note. It's a note that was on his body, or more so near his body. But he's not the one that wrote it. Oh look, Nick, it's an aeroplane. I wonder if Soren built that one too. Hey, why don't we take it for a spin? Just a quick tour around the neighbourhood. And who do you propose is going to pilot that wooden death trap? Me, of course. Who else? Don't worry, I've seen people fly airplanes on TV plenty of times. I think I'll pass. I've still got my whole life ahead of me. Right. What the hell were these called? Pegamoos? Ooh. So there are 2 male Pegaball lanterns in the reception hall. That must mean that these 2 are female Pegacow lanterns. Larry got their sexes mixed up when he replaced the one in the reception hall, huh? Didn't he see the horns? The difference is pretty glaring if you ask me. And yet he managed not to notice. That's what makes Larry Larry. And Larry being Larry is why I've seen more than my fair share of trouble for a lifetime. Oh, Mr. Wright. You know that lantern the victim was found inside of in the reception hall? I'm just about to go piece it back together so the police can examine it. Oh? Okay. We'll stop by for a look. Or for a look too, once you're done fixing it. Okay. She was just warning me that she was leaving, I guess. Bit weird. I guess that's the engine. So this is the airship's engine. It's pretty impressive. And it's all rhythmic, like a heartbeat. It's the literal heart of the flying chapel. Look at all those huge gears spinning around and around and around and around and... I think I'm starting to get dizzy. Yeah, me too. What else have we got then? Oh, we have this bell. Whatever the hell that means. What's that? A wedding bell? According to the pamphlet, it's used on the Vista deck during wedding ceremonies to bless the newlyweds. I guess they disassemble and store it away here in the hall when it's not being used. Alright, what else we got? There, the lift. Oh look, there's the lever to the lift Emma told us about. Let's try going up on it. I'll go flip the switch. Here goes nothing. Wait, I'm not even on it yet. Oh dear. Oh, right. Oh. Hey Maya, stop the lift. Oops, sorry, I got a little carried away. Never mind that, move over a little. Okay. So he was... Wait, I don't know if that means he was killed down here and... He wouldn't have been moved up to the Vista deck, he would have been killed on the Vista deck and moved down here. Is that blood? Blood? Let me see. Could it be Mr. Gloomsbury's blood? I would guess so. Well, this lift goes up to the Vista deck where the murder took place, so... I think that's the most logical conclusion. Well, I thought the victim was clubbed to death, and that there wasn't much blood. Something tells me I better take a picture of this. Lift bloodstain added to the court record. A bloodstain that was found on the side of the lift in the hold. It's unknown who's blued. My god. Whose blood it is. It's probably Gloomsbury's. I should ask Emma about it some more later. Mike, can you bring the lift back down now? You got it. I'll go flip the switch again. There. Oh, that works. Done. I want to find out some more about that bloodstain. But for now, I guess we should go up to the Vista deck and take a look around the actual crime scene for ourselves. The view must be great from up there. I bet it'll be awesome. You mean it would be, if it wasn't the scene of a murder. Okay, to the Vista deck we go. Make sure you actually get on the lift this time, Nick. I know. Okay, so I now have a bloodstain. Okay, I'll just flip the switch again, and away we go! Woo-woo! It's a pretty slow lift. And noisy, too. Whoa. Wow, look at that gorgeous view. So this is where Ellen was attacked and Mr. Gloomsbury was killed. Yeesh, one wrong step and it's splat on the ground below. Should we go investigate the stuff that's a little closer to the edge? Well, I don't see much of anything over there. The police investigation didn't turn up any clues either, so... maybe we don't need to. Oh, I get it. You're scared, aren't you, Nick? Of course not. Come on, let's go back down and finish checking out the hull. Wait. Oh my god, we actually did go back down. My god. Then again, it does seem like there wasn't anything on the Vista deck, so... it's fine. Okay, is Emma still here then? Oh, she is. Oh, sweet. Tell me about this bloodstain. Who does it belong to? Emma, about this bloodstain. Doesn't something about it strike you as odd? What's so odd about the victim's blood? That's not exactly... there's just something about it that bothers me. Now that you mention it... can't say I necessarily disagree with you. Maybe I should talk about this some more with... her. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Wait, I can talk about the candelabra too. Sure. Emma, can we check out this candelabra a little more? A little more? What are you... oops. What happened? I almost dropped the candelabra, and the candle slipped off. Well, let's be careful with that. It might be important evidence. Wait a minute. One of them's broken. Ooh. Now what? One of the pins that hold the candles is broken. What? There's definitely something fishy about this candelabra. There is? What makes you say that? Call it Forensic Investigator's intuition. We already dusted this for prints earlier. So let's test it with luminol this time. Knowing Emma, she'd use every test she has at the same time if she could. Just hang on, this'll only take a second. I hope this turns up a new lead somehow. Well, Emma, did you find anything? Take a look at this, Mr. Wright. Wait. Oh. Wait, but the fingerprints are... the fingerprints are Gloomsbury's. So who the hell did he club? Maybe he clubbed his attacker? No, because he got hit from behind. Wait, no he didn't. That's what they thought at first. So what is all that blood doing on there? Okay, Gloomsbury's dominant. Okay, traces of blood were found on it. It's caked in blood. Maybe somebody got hurt while they were setting up for the reception. These pins are pretty sharp. But if one of the pins is broken, it means there was some force involved. Do you think maybe somebody got stabbed? But nobody reported anything like that. It's quite a bit of blood. I wonder whose it is. If I have anything that might shed some light on that, I should probably show it to Emma. Oh, the bloodstain? Is that what it meant? I guess so. Oh, that's whose the blood is! That's why it's odd. I'm guessing? About this bloodstain. What about it? There's something about it that's been bothering me. Oh yeah? What's that? Well, there's a huge bloodstain on the crime scene lift, and a bloodstained candelabra. Now this is only a guess, but I'm thinking maybe these two bloodstains are from... ooh... Boo-doo. I don't think they're from different sources. The same source. They're both from the victim. I'm thinking maybe these two bloodstains are from the same source. I guess that is a possibility. Can we compare the two bloodstains? Would that take a lot of time? Are you kidding? Don't underestimate the power of science. I'll be done in a jiffy. Or it'll be done in a jiffy. And a jiffy has passed. It is done. And the results are in. That didn't take long now, did it? It seems that the blood from the lift and the candelabra are from the same person. Ah. The bloodstain that was found on the side of the lift, it matches the blood on the candelabra. Does that update both of them? Oh, it does. Stained with the same blood found on the lift. They aren't naming whose blood it is, though. I'm guessing it must be Gloomsbury's. But it's still weird that they're not naming it. Well, the victim was clubbed to death, and there wasn't all that much blood. But, if this isn't Mr. Gloomsbury's blood... Oh. Well, this is just a guess, but... what if Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed somebody with a candelabra pin? That would explain both the bloodstain, the huge bloodstain on the lift, and the blood on the candelabra. Oh my goodness, if that's true, then that means there was somebody else present at the scene of the murder. It does, doesn't it? This just might substantiate Ellen's statement about a third person. Emma, could you have this blood analysed? Sure thing. A mysterious bloodstain on a candelabra with the victim's prints on it. This just might be the thing to back up Ellen's memory of seeing a third person. Next up, the reception hall. It might be worth taking another look around in there. The reception hall? The forensics team is in there investigating right now. Oh, they are? Well, we don't have time to just sit around, so let's go check out something else. Good idea. We could go question some people. Especially Soren. I have quite a few questions for that guy. Sounds good, Nick. Off to do some legwork then? Yep. I thought we'd head to Soren's house for starters. He was accompanying the police on their investigation here earlier, but he's probably home by now. Great, thanks. Later, Emma. Alright. Onwards to the fire, I guess. Bum 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 bum. God, her theme's so good. I still can't get over how gorgeous Sprocket Manor is. Just don't touch anything. I wasn't going to. She was definitely going to. I was told I had guests. Hey! Thank you for seeing us, Soren. We know you're busy. We'd like to ask you a few questions about the case, if you wouldn't mind. Yeah, will we actually get an answer out of him, though? That's another question entirely. Soren? You're Ellen's lawyers, right? Huh? Yes, that's right. Don't tell me he doesn't remember me. Will Ellen be found guilty? We're doing everything we can to prevent that. That's why we're here. Oh god, why we're here investigating. What is this song? Wait, isn't this a song from... I think it was introduced in Dual Destinies. It reminds me of Filch. I think that was his name. So will you please tell us what you know? And he's gonna send us a paper airplane. Soren? Alright, fine. What was that pause all about? He was writing down an important note, I guess. The cover-up. It was you who gave the order for that large-scale cover-up plan, isn't that right? What large-scale cover-up? Are you kidding me? Don't play dumb with us. You held 2 wedding receptions in order to try and cover up Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. Ellen thought that, through the power of the timekeeper you built, she travelled back in time. Ah, so that's why there were 2 receptions. Wait, he didn't know? Wait. Wait, does he seriously not know why the reception was held twice? Looks like I'll have to delve deeper here. What the balls? Time travel! So the cover-up scheme, that fake trip through time. You're not the one who was behind it all? Persnickety said... Wait a minute. The more I say that, the more it sounds like persnickety. But I don't think that it... Actually, yeah, if I just say persnickety, it sounds like persnickety. Nickety. I don't... like... So his name's a pun. But that means bugger all. I was just... Every time I say it, it plays in my mind now. So Persnickety stated in court that you were the one who ordered it to be carried out. Pierce said that? I see. I leave him in charge of everything around me. So whatever he decides is, in essence, my decision too. So I take it that you didn't know anything about the cover-up. That's none of your business. But you were in 2 wedding receptions in a row. And still, you claim to know nothing. I have nothing more to say to you. Please leave. But Soren... Oh great, we're getting sent a note. Whee! I knew that was coming. Ow! Oh, there's something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Go away. It doesn't get clearer than that, huh? He's looking especially uncooperative, but maybe I can grab his attention somehow. There's still that one piece of evidence I don't know much about. It's worth a try. What do you know about this? Does this bring anything to mind? Even some small vague detail will do. Oh, great, cool. Oh, great. We're getting a note. Ack. I've been had. This guy really doesn't want to talk, does he? Oh, did I present the wrong thing? Oh, I did. Okay, in that case, I'll present this. Sheesh. Soren, have you ever seen this before? That's... I honestly thought that my... Wait. Oh, it's lead. No, when I first heard that noise, I thought my game was breaking, because it just sounds like static. Soren, what is it? Nothing. Why did his whole demeanor change all of a sudden? He's gone pale as a ghost, too. Ew. Oh god. Soren! Nick, look at his stomach. He's bleeding. Somebody help. Soren's collapsed. Wait a minute. Wait, no, it can't have been. Master Soren. Get him to the hospital. Quickly now. Wait, what the fuck happened? That was not expected. Poor Soren, that must be one serious wound. What is it, Nick? Well, when I showed him the candelabra, his whole demeanor changed. So I was just thinking that maybe his injury is... Huh? What's this? It's Soren's notebook. He must have dropped it in the rush to get him to the hospital. Oh, his notebook, huh? I wonder what's written in it. Do you? Come on, you know you want to take a peek. Soren's notebook. What to do, what to do. Sure. We're terrible people. I feel guilty snooping around in somebody's personal notebook, but... maybe we should take a little look-see. Ooh. Oh, no, not ooh, it's a whoa. It's filled with big words written in tiny letters. I guess he uses his notebook to write down his invention ideas. What is it? Did you find something? After March 8th of last year, the content of this notebook changes dramatically. Like how? Well... ever since that date, Soren's been writing down every detail of his life, as in, every. Maybe he decided to start keeping a diary. But this is way too detailed to be an ordinary diary. Either he's really compulsive, or maybe just plain forgetful. But is it really as simple as that? I feel like something happened on March 8th that made Soren change. I mean, it was a year ago. All we know that happened a year ago was that that's when Pierce came on board. Well, why don't you let me take a look at that, and I'll tell you. Hey, Maya, let's go or let go or we'll rip it. What happened? Now look what you did. You dropped it. You should have just let me take a look. How is this my fault? Oh no, Nick. Oh god, it fell into that pool of Soren's blood. I can't read a thing on these 2 pages now. Uh-oh, you're gonna get it now. Ugh, I guess it really is my fault after all. Let's just put it away carefully for now. We can't let anything else happen to it, you hear? A database-like notebook that chronicles the events of each day in minute detail. But only after March 8th. Huh? Hey look, there's something sticking out of the notebook. Ooh. Oh, Company Air. It looks like a newspaper article. That's about his sister. Let's see. It's about the car accident Soren's sister died in. It happened on... Oh, never mind. March 8th. So it's not to do with Pierce. That's the day Soren's notebook completely changed. Oh wow. What else does it say? It says the driver at the time of the accident was... Dumbass Gloomsbury. Dumas, whatever. It says Soren was in the car too and that he had sustained severe injuries. Just like Pierce said. Soren completely changed after the accident. Oh! I thought he just became, you know, compulsive about keeping minute details when Pierce came on board. I'm just like trying to paint Pierce as the bad guy, when we know nothing about him. A clipping of a newspaper article detailing the car accident that resulted in Selena Sprocket's death. So Gloomsbury was driving the car when they got into that accident. That opens up the distinct possibility that Soren did it. Of Soren holding a grudge against Gloomsbury. You think Soren could have? I don't know. It's not like I have any proof. We should talk to Pierce about this when we return Soren's notebook to him. Though he doesn't seem to be here right now. Maybe he's at the Flying Chapel. Oh, I guess we're off back to the mirroring dock. Ba-bum. I sure hope Pierce is around here somewhere. Ah, Mr. Wright and Miss Fay. There he is. Hello, Pierce. We were just looking for you. I'm sorry for Master Soren's sudden departure earlier. You have my sincerest apologies. It was totally understandable, really. But shouldn't you be at his side right now? It's fine. The other servants are with him, and I am in constant contact with them. Yeah, of course. Do not forget to give him his pain medication and be sure to keep him hydrated. Also, see to it that he is not up and about. He needs complete bed rest. Is this what happens when you're too rich for normal peasant phones? I must return to Master Soren now, but... Did you want something of me? Actually, here's Soren's notebook. He dropped it when he collapsed. I hope Pierce doesn't notice the bloodstain. Oh, thank you very much for this. I will see to it personally that Master Soren gets it back. Thank you. Soren's notebook given to Pierce. Yay! I trust you did not look inside? Oh, of course not. Because it is filled with numerous patent-worthy ideas, you see. Look, I know you're busy, but would you mind if I asked you a few questions about the case? I don't see why not. Well, as I said, I must be getting back to Master Soren. But I suppose you could... So if you could make it quick, I would greatly appreciate it. Perfect. Alright, I'll make this as quick as I can. The cover-up. I'd like to ask you about the cover-up you tried to pull off, if you don't mind. I told everything there is to tell in court already. Disposing of anything that may harm the Sprocket family's reputation is simply a part of my job. Sounds like a lovely job description. I have nothing more to say on the matter. I will say, I do not think it's wise to spend time on topics that have already been discussed. Right. Okay, the accident. Pierce, could you tell us more about this accident? Where did you find that? Oh, God. And did I not already tell you about that accident? You did, but you conveniently left out one crucial detail. The fact that Dumas Gloomsbury was driving the car at the time. I was going to clean his monocle. Oh, did I not mention that? I suppose it simply did not come up then. If Mr. Gloomsbury caused the accident, why didn't the Sprocket family fire him? Wouldn't that usually be the natural consequence of such a huge mistake? Please do not misunderstand, Gloomsbury stayed on with the family. On Master Soren's request. What? That is the type of person Master Soren is. Okay. Perhaps it was the influence of Miss Selina's kind nature. She was such a sweet person that even in her last moments, she thought of Master Soren. Not only did Soren not hold a grudge against Gloomsbury, he insisted on keeping him on. Now I really don't understand how that guy's mind works. Her last moments. So you were present for Selina Sprocket's last moments? Yes, in my professional capacity. The accident happened on the way to a certain party. What kind of a party was it? It was Miss Selina's engagement party. Gloomsbury's injuries were minor, but Miss Selina and Master Soren's were critical. They were brought to the Sprocket family's regular hospital. Wow. To have such a terrible thing happen on what was to be a day of celebration. I've also just noticed that pocket watch. It's the one that Pierce uses. I mean, again, I'm guessing. I think I'm just trying to pin him as the bad guy. But no, they might have multiple of those. Yeah, I just saw it and I was like, that's the one Pierce is using. Or at least it's the same model and everything. Thanks to the surgeon in charge, Master Soren pulled through. But Miss Selina, she didn't. The last words Miss Selina said to me were... keep him safe. Oh. Please help Soren. Oh. Ever since then, I have attended Master Soren and tried to help him in any way I can. I see. Selina's fiancé must have been devastated. Indeed. Was it you? The shock of losing Miss Selina was so great, he quit being a surgeon. He was a surgeon? Wait, so the surgeon who tried to save them both was he? Yes, he was Miss Selina's fiancé. What a terrible tragedy. How awful. So where is her fiancé now? Good question. I wonder that sometimes myself. It's you. The fact there's that pocket watch, and you now have that pocket watch. I've got my eye on you, buddy. So Selina had a fiancé. I'd like to find out more about him, but I doubt I'll find him anytime soon. Yeah, he stood in front of you. The more I look at it, I'm just like, yeah, that's the one that's in her. It's in the picture of her. It must be it. It's the only one that we've seen, but I suppose it makes sense for only the butler to have it. Are we done here? I'm afraid I must be going. Could you please just tell me a little more about Soren? There's nothing more to tell. I can't seem to get any real answers out of him just by asking him questions. But there is that piece of evidence I still don't know much about. Wait, again? Maybe he'll be able to tell me something about it. Wait, really? Again? The candle. Serious? Pierce. Have you ever seen this candelabra before? No. I don't know anything about it. Ah! Sneaky. Ah, fuck. My Megatama reacted. Pierce must be trying to hide something from me. I have to break those Cyclocks and find out what. Alright, easy enough. Pierce's secret. Pierce. You're hiding something from me about this candelabra, aren't you? Oh, am I? It is one of the candelabras from the Flying Chapel, is it not? Is there something special about it? Actually, yes. There's some blood on it, you see. I think the blood might belong to this person. Where is he? There he is. Soren has a rather nasty wound on his body, doesn't he? What do you know? Yes, Master Soren is indeed injured. Are any of the other people involved with this case injured? Not as far as I know. I see. Then let me ask you this, Pierce. Do you suppose Soren could have been more directly involved than you're letting on? Why in the world would you think that? I've got my reasons. Mr. Gloomsbury's fingerprints were on this candelabra's stem, which leads me to believe that Mr. Gloomsbury stabbed Soren with it. You cannot possibly think Master Soren is the one responsible for the murder. I don't have any conclusive evidence of that at the moment, but I do think he had a motive. This proves that Soren had a motive to kill Mr. Gloomsbury. The newspaper. Yeah, because he was the driver.
Take that!
And he lost his sister as a result. Even though it was an accident, Mr. Gloomsbury was the man responsible for taking Soren's sister away. His expression has not changed. Let us suppose that Gloomsbury did stab Master Soren with the candelabra. Can you prove that it had anything to do with this case? He might have been stabbed at some other location for some other reason. Sorry, but I can prove it was related to this case. Oh, really? Soren's stabbing and Mr. Gloomsbury's death are definitely connected. Are they now? This is the piece of evidence that ties Soren's injury to Mr. Gloomsbury's murder. It's the bloodstain.
Take that!
Because that just shows that it took place on the Vista deck. The bloodstain was found on the side of the lift that goes between the hold and the Vista deck. Its blood matches the blood that's on the candelabra. I obtained the results straight from the police, so I can assure you this information is correct. This bloodstain on the lift indicates an important fact. It shows us that the murder was in the reception hall. No. Gloomsbury wasn't there. No. Soren was there during the crime. Soren's blood is on the lift, which can only mean one thing. He was there, wasn't he? Soren was at the scene of the crime. You are very astute, Mr. Wright. It appears I cannot hide this from you any longer. Very well. I will tell you everything. Unlock successful. Oh yeah. Ooh, the music. So Pierce's secret. Could you tell me about Soren's injury? Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Soren himself. Soren himself. As you surmised, Master Soren was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. Really? The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Soren went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That is when Master Soren was stabbed with the candelabra, he said. But yet he went along with the second reception. Even though Master Soren was badly injured, he went after Gloomsbury. What? While bleeding everywhere. Lovely. So Soren really was the one was at the scene of the murder, wasn't he? Yes, that is correct. However, by the time Master Soren arrived at the scene, Gloomsbury had already been murdered. So Pierce is saying that Soren was at the crime scene, but that he didn't have anything to do with the murder itself. Even still, why did you try to keep such an important piece of information from me? I'm very sorry. Master Soren's injury and Gloomsbury's murder were not directly related. So I decided not to mention it, so as not to unnecessarily complicate the investigation. Now, if you won't mind, I really must be off. Now then. I am sorry, but I am afraid I really must go now. Please excuse me. Thank you for your time. He should have just told us everything in the first place and saved us all a lot of time. Yeah, but I guess it isn't that simple for him. He is the family butler after all. He sure didn't make our job any easier though, did he? But at least we learned something new. Soren was at the scene of the crime. Helen's gonna hate us. That's true, one step forward is better than none. So, what next, Nick? Let's see. We want to go back to the reception hall. The forensics team might be done investigating the reception hall by now. No, I remember him mentioning it in the hold. Let's go check it out. Sounds like a plan. Let's do it. Moving on. Alright. Ooh, there's a woman. She's cleaning the window. Flying Chapel reception. Looks like the police are done with their investigation in here. Wonder if it's okay for us to take a look around now. Oh, hi, Mr. Wright. Hey, it's Emma, again. Hi, Emma. Would it be alright if we investigate this room now? Sure, the police are all done, so go for it. Is there going to be anything new, though? Oh, remember that broken lantern? I restored it to perfection. I have to say, it's some of my best work. Sounds like the repair job was a resounding success. Thanks, Emma. We'll take a good look at it, too. Well, I have to be getting back to the station. Try not to mess up the crime scene if you can help it. We'll be careful. I'll be seeing you. Let's do it. Right, what can I look at? Bye, Emma, and thank you. Well, shall we get started? What can I even look at? It's like all the same stuff that we've looked at. Hey, I think that tablecloth is new. They must have changed it since yesterday. Huh? How can you tell? It's clean. Just the food stains that were there are now gone. Oh. I should have known it's because it's food related. Got a keen eye. What's that? Oh, it's a key! Ooh! A key with a heart on it. This is where the murder weapon, the Timekeeper, was displayed. I guess it's in police custody now. Huh? What's this? A key? It looks like one of those things that you'd put in the back of, yeah, I don't know what they were called, but you'd wind it up and then they'd start moving. Like, yeah, wind-up toys, I guess. Let's ask the maid about it. Good idea. She might be able to tell us something. Excuse me, could I ask you a question? Oh, of course. What would you like to know? Do you know anything about this key? It's a key that starts up the Timekeeper. A startup key. That's right. Oh. The first startup of Love Ceremony was so beautiful. The bride and groom each had a symbol of their love when they put them together. Oh, when they put them together. Oh, how romantic it was. Symbol of their love. Key of love. A heart-shaped key used to activate the Timekeeper. Okay. First startup of Love Ceremony. What exactly did that entail? Oh, it's a ceremony in which the couple activate the Timekeeper together for the first time. I suppose it was kind of like a cake-cutting ceremony. What are these symbols of their love you mentioned? Well, that's kind of an industry secret, so I can't really say. I'm sorry, I'd better be getting back to my work. Looks like there's an order from above not to talk about it. Interesting. What else can I look at? The window again? It's very clean. It's another beautiful day outside, isn't it? Yeah, if only it wasn't the scene of a murder, we could really enjoy it. True. Must be tough for the maids to have to work on a beautiful day like today. Oh, we don't mind. Whoa, I didn't think you could hear me way over there. Or over here. We don't think of it as simply cleaning. It's more like we're wiping away all of the sadness stuck to this airship. Wow, talk about devoted. I guess we've checked out everything of interest in this area. I can look at the flowers. Woo! Oh. That's not the flowers, but whatever. Nick! What's wrong, Maya? This hasn't moved an inch since the last time we looked at it. It would be pretty creepy if it had. Okay. Look, we're in the middle of an important investigation, so try not to shout, okay? I was just hoping it'd change somehow, you know, so it'd be more interesting. The last thing we need is for things to get more interesting. Oh, there's a maid. Wait, that's... Oh, we didn't see this before. It's a door. Hey, take a look at that door. I wonder where it goes. Shall we open it up and see? Wait, please don't open that. It's the emergency escape hatch. It leads directly outside. You'll fall to your death. Ooh, that was a close one, huh, Maya? I'll say. So that's why they have the partitions up normally. Interesting. If I go right again... Oh, there it is. That's the other pickable. Not bad. Ba-ba-bum. I can also look at the fog machine again for some reason. Sure. Lay it on me. Excuse me, is the fog machine ready to use now? No, I'm afraid not. We only put dry ice in it when there's an actual reception. I see. That's too bad. She still wants to blast me with a cloud of smoke, doesn't she? I'd say. I know we have the patched up Pegable. Here's the Broken Lantern, all patched up. And I do mean patched. Not bad though. Ooh! Oh, that's a bulb. I thought that was a handprint. Emma said this was some of her best work, so I know she put a lot of effort into it. It was pretty smashed up. Must have been a lot of work to piece it back together. Well, she gets an A for effort at any rate. This wheel handle on the back has some blood on it. Oh, she has it on the wrong way around. Looks like somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Maybe the blood got there when the killer was putting old Doom and Gloom's body inside. Do you see anything else worth noting? Well, there's another one of these lanterns over there. So it might be a good idea to really compare the two later. Broken Lantern. So the lantern in which the victim's body was found, Emma restored it, but something about it still feels off. Seems off. The handle's on the wrong side. I can already say that. It's silver on the inside and red on the outside. And the reason for that was to cut costs. Something like that, anyway. This is the unbroken Pegable lantern. And this is the one that Emma restored. I wouldn't say they look exactly the same. More that they're made up of the same parts. Wait a minute. What is it, Maya? I think there's something off about this Pegable. Just about everything about it looks off to me. Dad, could they make it more obvious? I'm not quite sure what it is, but some detail isn't quite right. Show me the restored lantern again. It's the handle. Hey, I know. It's this, right? What? Where? The thing about the restored lantern that's off is the colour of the wheel handle. Yeah, it's the wrong one. Look, it's the wheel handle. It's a different colour altogether. Well, it's silver and bloody, as opposed to red. Emma got the inside and outside wheel handles switched around. Oh wow, you're right. And there's blood here on this handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Right. Which means that the blood got on the handle from the... Oh, pardon me. From inside the lantern. The restored lantern, there's a bloodstain on the inside wheel handle, as if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Do you think the blood got there when the killer was putting the body in the lantern? It's really hard to say at this point. Wait. Are we done? Whew. Well, I think we've checked out everything relevant to this case. What are you two doing here? Wait, what are you doing here? Soren. Oh, his notebook. Soren, shouldn't you be resting in bed? You're injured. How do you know about that? Never mind. My notebook. Have you seen my notebook? I can't find it anywhere. My notebook. I need my notebook. What's the matter with him? My notebook. I have to have... Master Soren. Oh. Master Soren, I told you to stay in bed. My notebook. Oh, he becomes... like, panicked. Here you go. Yes, this is it. So Soren gets emotionally unstable without that notebook of his. Phew. Looks like he's calmed down now. Soren, do you mind if I talk to you for a minute? I cannot allow you to do that. What if his wound were to open up again? He needs to rest. I guess you're right. Now, if you'll excuse us. Master Soren, let us retire. Oh wow, it's not often that we see that. Yeah, the two character models next to one another. That becomes incredibly common in The Great Ace Attorney. Alright. And the only other time we actually saw it was in the investigation games. There they go. Pierce is right. I guess he really isn't in any condition to be questioned. Well, let's go back to the agency and sort through what we've learned. Okay. Da-dum, ba-da-da-da-bum, bum, bum. September 22nd. We're back. Anybody here? Oh, hi, boss. Athena. I thought you were with Truthy. I guess you could say that I'm taking a short break. But enough about me. What about the investigation? Did you find anything? Or find out anything? Well, turns out that the third person Ellen says she saw at the crime scene might have been Soren Sprocket. What? Really? I always thought he seemed suspicious. Thing is, by the time Soren got to the Vista deck, the murder had already occurred, apparently. No way. I don't buy that. Not for a second. It's a cover-up. A cover-up, I tell you. That's certainly a possibility. And as a lawyer, it's certainly a possibility I have to pursue, but what? It's your job, right? So pursue the heck out of it. I actually said out if it. It's a small typo. Just do it. Yeah, but is that really what's best for Ellen? Soren could be found guilty if the truth comes out tomorrow. But if we don't pursue this possibility, Ellen could be found guilty instead. Oh man. Either way, it sure doesn't spell out happily ever after for the two of them. So what are you gonna do, Mr. Wright? I can't let an innocent person get convicted. So I guess all I can really do is pursue the truth. Even if it ends up devastating Ellen. What a tough call to make. Still, there's always a chance, right? Maybe something will come up during the trial and that will save their marriage. I hope so. I really do. Well, Maya, let's go. Break the news to Ellen, you mean? Yep. Mr. Wright, please take me with you. I bet I could help you cancel Ellen through this piece of bad news. Athena, I appreciate the offer, but don't you have somewhere else to be? Do I? Athena, what are you doing here? I've been looking all over for you. Come on now, let's get back to practicing. No, wait. My body can't take it anymore. Boss, you gotta help me. A lawyer always keeps their promises, Athena. But boss... If you bail on me one more time, Athena, I'm going to use a real blade on you. Wow, one hell of a threat. Sorry, Athena, but somebody's gotta do it. Better you than me, though. Hang in there, kiddo. Come on, Maya. We better get going. Hey, it's her theme! Oh man, we haven't heard this much. All that much. It's a really good song. Alright. Ellen! She's gonna cry. Shoot. Can't be helped. Visitor's room. Hello, Ellen. How did your investigation go, Mr. Wright? Before I answer that, I need to ask you something. Was Soren with you when Mr. Gloomsbury attacked you in the reception hall? I'm sorry I kept it from you. I was afraid that he'd come under suspicion if I told you. So I kept quiet about it. I'm really sorry. I see. I thought it was probably something like that. Listen, Ellen, I'm afraid I had to make a very difficult decision based on what I found out. What kind of decision? This is very hard for me to say, but the mysterious person you saw at the scene of the crime was most likely Soren. What? In other words, in court tomorrow, I'm afraid I'll have to propose the possibility that Soren is the true culprit. Even if it's not true. No, Soren is innocent. No. But don't you see? If I don't try to pursue that line of thought, you'll be found guilty. No, no. Please, Ellen, calm down. God damn. Soren just can't be found guilty. I'd much rather I be found guilty instead. Ellen, you can't let yourself think like that. But, no. Marriage is for life, right? Do you really think you can run away from the truth and still be truly happy with him? You're not married, so how can you possibly understand? Sometimes you've just got to do whatever it takes to make things work. But... Nick, you talk to her. Hey, don't just dump this all on me. Mr. Wright, I'm innocent and Soren is too. So please, Prove our innocence in court. I'll certainly do everything in my power. I just hope she doesn't lose control like this in court tomorrow. My god. She's got some really bizarre animations, that's for sure. To be continued. Really? Holy shit, that was quick. Crap. Most definitely was not expecting that so soon. Jesus. Yeah, it's only been an hour and a half. An hour and a quarter. So that was only 75 minutes. Not bad. Which means this is probably going to be 2.5 hours if I had to guess. Which makes the entire case 5.5 hours. Near enough. Which, yeah, is like half of the length, not even half of the length of case 5. That thing was huge. I think it was like a 14-hour case. So the one thing we found out yesterday is that Soren was there at the crime scene. I only hope I can get some testimony from him that will get to the heart of the matter. Mr. Wright. Good morning, Ellen. Look, I'm afraid you might not like the result of today's trial. Nevertheless, don't tell me you're still thinking of going that route. Soren is innocent. He can't be found guilty. Take me instead. Ellen, please. Try and get a hold of yourself. Oh god, no. Okay, good. I believe in Soren with all my heart. So how dare you doubt him? Oh. She left. Regardless of which one of them is found guilty today, it's going to be devastating for Ellen, isn't it? We'll just have to do everything we can. That's the best we can do, you know? The trial is about to begin, Mr. Wright. Alright. Let's go, Maya. Yeah. I can't believe it. It just didn't take long to get to this. It's just surprising. Number 6. Day 2. There's Edgeworth. It's weird though, he doesn't wear glasses in court, but he wears them everywhere else. Court is back in session for the trial of Ellen Wyatt. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Let's see now. Where were we? In yesterday's session, we found out about the Sprocket family's conspiracy to cover up the murder of Dumbass Gloomsbury with a second reception. Taking advantage of our collective shock, the defense, as usual, made a nonsensical claim. Namely, that there was a third person present who struck the victim. Hey, don't try to make it sound like I made it all up. The defendant herself made a statement about the existence of a third person, and further investigation has only proven her statement to be true. Then I presume the defense intends to focus on proving the identity of this third person. Is that alright with you, Mr. Edgeworth? Indeed, Your Honor. In fact, I predict that the defense will most likely attempt to name Mr. Soren Sprocket as the true culprit. How did you... The driver during the accident that killed Mr. Sprocket's sister was the victim. Therefore, Mr. Sprocket had a motive to murder Mr. Gloomsbury. That's what you plan to assert, is it not, Mr. Wright? Am I that transparent? Come now, Mr. Wright, did you really think the police wouldn't uncover this information? Congrats on getting it in one, Mr. Edgeworth. Hold it. But, this is gonna be Ellen. You're wrong, Soren didn't do it. He's innocent. Miss Wyatt, please. He's innocent, I tell you. What is this, Mr. Wright? I thought your claim about the existence of a third person came from the defendant. It did. This is just a minor hiccup. Did you not discuss your strategy for today with the defendant, Mr. Wright? Starting off on the wrong foot again is seriously cutting into my lifespan. It would appear that the defense is in disarray. Therefore, the best way to clear things up is to ask Mr. Sprocket himself what happened. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call Soren Sprocket to the stand. What? Very well. Bailiff, please bring Mr. Sprocket to the witness stand. Oh, there he is. Nice shoes. Okay. I have a feeling cross-examining this guy is going to be a nuisance. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Oh no. Yeah, that's why I thought. Wait. Is he really? There's something written on this paper airplane. Let's see. Soren Sprocket, Managing Director of Sprocket Aviation. Mr. Sprocket, please give your answers in words, not paper airplanes. Now then, Mr. Sprocket. Please tell that doubting lawyer, there, what really happened at the time of the crime. Well, Mr. Sprocket? Oh dear. Mr. Sprocket. Alright. You want me to talk about what happened when the crime occurred? In other words, after the first wedding reception. When Ellen and I were in the reception hall, right? Not even the power of the court can stop him from marching to the beat of his own drum. Jeez. What Soren remembers. I was stabbed by Dumbass in the reception hall and I collapsed to the floor. The next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumbass on the Vista deck. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista deck. But when I got there, Dumbass was already... I don't want to believe it, but it must have been Ellen. Nothing else makes sense. Ooh, not good. Wait just a minute here. You actually think Miss Wyatt killed the victim? That's right. Dumbass was killed by Ellen. This is unbelievable. How can you suspect your bride, the woman you love?
Objection!
Oh, screw off, Edgeworth. The truth can be cruel. Miss Wyatt, you must be very upset. Is there anything you wish to say? Oh god. No. I can't believe this. Soren. I thought that at least you would believe in me. The best way now to show your love for your groom is to admit your guilt and try to atone. Soren. Whoa. Mr. Edgeworth, I haven't even cross-examined the witness yet. Quit picking on the clearly distraught. Yeah, that's not cool, Mr. Edgeworth. The court is where we seek the truth. And the truth is unyielding, even to the truly pitiful. Mr. Edgeworth. I find it distasteful to make a lady cry. Ooh. Et tu, Brute. So what are you gonna do, Nick? If the third person Ellen saw on the Vista deck was Soren, then we have to prove Soren was there at the time of the murder. I don't see any obvious inconsistencies in his testimony, but we have to push forward. Oh boy. Cross-examination. What Soren remembers. So I was stabbed by Dumbass in the reception hall and I collapsed to the floor. I know his name is probably Dumas, but I can't help but call him Dumbass. I know it probably ruins his name, but yeah, whatever. Please tell me everything you can about when you got stabbed. After the reception, Ellen and I were enjoying a moment alone in the reception hall. Then Dumbass appeared and stabbed me. He grabbed Ellen and the timekeeper and left the reception hall. Did Mr. Gloomsbury say anything at that time? I don't remember. After I was stabbed, I was immobilized by the pain. I see. The next thing I saw was Ellen and Dumbass on the Vista deck. Oh, shh. I was meant to press, but I just clicked. My bad. So saw them on the Vista deck. The Vista deck, huh? But it was nighttime then. Could you really see them in the darkness? The moon was out, so I could see them clearly. From the looks of it, Dumbass was trying to push Ellen and the timekeeper off the side. So you saw the defendant. About to be thrown off the airship, you say? That's right. In such a desperate situation, it would only be natural for her to fight for her life. And the murder weapon was right there within her grasp. Ugh, this isn't going well at all. I've got to do something, fast. Bum. I knew Ellen was in danger, so I headed for the Vista deck. I almost clicked again. There we go. Whew. I understand that your bride was in danger, but... were you really able to move with a stab wound to the gut? I was desperately trying to push the pain out of my mind. I see, so adrenaline kicked in and gave you strength, is that right? I don't see much of anything in this statement I can refute. That's right. I almost passed out several times as I made my way to the Vista deck. But when I got there, Dumas was already...
Hold it!
Are you absolutely sure, Mr. Sprocket? That by the time you got to the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed? Yes. But the Vista deck is just on the other side of the glass windows in the reception hall. Shouldn't you have been able to get there right away?
Objection!
Bum bum. Mr. Wright, have you investigated nothing? Oh, really? That's stupid. The only way to the Vista deck is to go to the hold and take the lift. That's dumb. No matter how much one hurries, it would take at least 10 minutes. Ooh, that's a 10-minute gap. Well, that's unhelpful. Not necessarily. But Soren had to have gotten there before the murder, or my claim won't stand. Do you have any idea for me, Maya? It's definitely easier to prove that someone did go to the hold than not. I mean, you can't leave anything if you don't go someplace, right? Can't leave anything. Wait a minute. I think Maya's onto something here. The lack of a certain something actually proves that Soren didn't go to the hold. What's the matter? Are you stumped already? No, I'm far from stumped, Mr. Edgeworth. I know for a fact that Mr. Sprocket didn't go to the hold. You and your paper-thin bluff. Mr. Sprocket's bloodstain on the lift proves he went through the hold. So what possible proof could you have that he did not, in fact, go through there? You want proof? You got it. You can do this, Phoenix. There's gotta be proof that Soren didn't go through the hold. Well, Mr. Wright? This proves that Mr. Sprocket didn't go through the hold. I mean, the logical thing would be the hold injury thing, but I'm pretty sure Soren's name's on it, is it not? Dumbass. Oh. Pierce and Ellen. Oh, never mind.
Take that!
Easy enough. As anyone can see from the hold entry record, there's absolutely no mention of Soren Sprocket entering the hold. The defense asserts that Mr. Sprocket used a different route to get to the Vista deck. You can assert all you want, Mr. Wright, but can you actually prove another route exists? Can I prove the existence of another route to the Vista deck, you ask? Ooh, I would say no. Not yet. Well, now that I really think about it, I guess it's going to be hard to prove. But I can't back down now. The trial will be over if I do. There's only one thing I can do at a time like this. I can prove it. Oh, I suppose I should have just chose the top one. Even if it's just a bluff, I have to present something. Anything that could prove the existence of a faster route to the Vista deck. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Oh god. Show us how Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista deck. Really? Mr. Sprocket made for the Vista deck through here. The door. Yeah, okay, this is probable. Sheesh. To save his bride from danger, Mr. Sprocket opened the escape hatch, then made his way alongside the outside wall to the Vista deck. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? That would certainly be a much faster route to the Vista deck.
Objection!
I'm disappointed, Mr. Wright. Is that really the best you could muster? That escape hatch is not meant to be used to get from the reception hall to the Vista deck. One slip and that's all it would take for Mr. Sprocket to plunge to his death. I have to agree. The defense's claim is really stretching
Hold
it.
it!
I understand how it sounds, Your Honor. But at this point, it's too early to definitely say that he didn't go that way. So that's what you're going with then, I take it? Of course, Your Honor. This is real life, Mr. Wright, not some cinematic drivel or comic book. Do you have some sort of logical explanation to share that would convince us of your claim? I do. Are you sure, Nick? Kind of. Actually, I have nothing. So I'll just have to wing it somehow. On what do you base your theory that Mr. Sprocket made his way along the outside? My theory that he was able to go along the outside of the wall despite the danger is based on... oh my god, really? The power of love. It's the only one that makes sense. Out of all three, to save the bride he loves, the Grim risked his life and rushed to her side. Mr. Sprocket was able to make it to the Vista deck despite the danger. Because of the power of love. The power of love? The judge will be on our side, like, yeah. That love is a source of strength that can help one overcome any obstacle. I think I can relate, thanks to my own long, happy marriage. Wow, he actually seems to be buying it.
Objection!
I knew Edgeworth wouldn't. The power of love, you say? That kind of illogical argument is hardly viable in a court of law. Wouldn't you agree, Your Honor? I disagree. I'm afraid not, Mr. Edgeworth. You should never underestimate the power of love. You'll understand one day when you get which I won't. Exactly what is so wrong with wishing to remain unwed? Way to set him off, Your Honor. Never mind all this unscientific nonsense. Are you aware, Mr. Wright, that at the time of the crime... Whoa. There was a huge propeller turning at full speed between the hatch and the Vista deck. Even if a person were to go outside through the hatch... they'd be blown away in an instant. Uh-oh. Where does your power of love get you now, Mr. Wright? A huge spinning propeller, you say? In that case, I have to admit it does seem impossible. I should have known. Nick, you can't make that kind of face in front of your client. The worst of times are when lawyers have to force their biggest smiles. Right? Right. I feel like I just saw Mia looking out at me through Maya's eyes. What's wrong, Nick? Why are you gaping at me like a giant sunfish? Thank you, Maya. You just helped me remember something really important. There it is. There's that fearless smile I was looking for. That gives a mind-blowing theory, just like you always do. I have to turn my thinking around. Instead of wondering how Soren could have moved past that huge propeller, I have to think about what would have made it possible for him to do so. Your Honor, Mr. Wright only makes that ridiculous face when his back is pressed against the wall. Therefore, please do hurry and give your ruling before... before he says anything. Mr. Edgeworth, it's still far too early to discount my theory. What are you talking about? The airship's large spinning propellers have already shredded it to pieces. But if we think a little more outside the box, I'm sure we can find a way he could have made it. Stop trying to stall, Mr. Wright, and show us how it could have been even remotely possible, if at all. I must agree with Mr. Edgeworth. Very well, Your Honor. There must have been a way. Some way that Soren could have moved along the wall in spite of the propeller. Now then, Mr. Wright. What specifically would have made it possible? This is how it would have been possible for Mr. Sprocket to get to the Vista deck. The airship wasn't flying, the propellers were broken. Ooh. He got to the deck some other way. I mean, the only way it would have been possible is if the airship wasn't flying. Because the propellers wouldn't have been moving. What allowed Mr. Sprocket to go along the outside wall in spite of the propellers? is that the location of the flying chapel at the time of the crime. The location of the flying chapel? But wasn't it flying high in the sky? No, Your Honor. I'm afraid it wasn't. What? Then where was it? At the time of the murder, the airship wasn't flying through the sky, but moored to the ground. What? And if the airship wasn't flying, then that means... Yeah, the propellers weren't turning. Ooh. We're onto something. In which case... yeah, he'd have been able to do that. Mr. Sprocket could have gotten to the Vista deck along the outside wall. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? What the fuck? Oh god! I just realised what happened. His thumb has, expanded. I like the noise it made. I don't remember. Ow. He stabbed himself with his pencil. That's gonna leave a mark.
Objection!
Even if the propellers weren't turning, it would have been far too risky to go that way. Ah, but Mr. Edgeworth, you're forgetting about the power of love. Yes, the amazing power of love. Ah, this again. Very well, for the sake of argument, let's assume the so-called power of love made it possible for Mr. Sprocket to move along the outside wall of the airship. Can you prove that the airship was tied to the ground as you claim, Mr. Wright? Well, I don't have any evidence that proves where the airship was at the time. You can prove it, can't you? Maya, can you think of anything we can use to prove it? Can't say I can. Oh wait. Didn't somebody see something outside a window at the time of the crime? I think I remember someone saying as much. Wait, Larry's drawing? Do I have a piece of evidence that shows what was outside the airship? Wait, did he mistake a bird for a pterodactyl? And obviously, if the airship was flying, a bird wouldn't be anywhere near the window. Well, what are you waiting for? This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the crime. That's my idea. I would guess it's because it wasn't flying.
Take that!
This piece of evidence shows what was outside the airship at the time of the murder. What kind of lousy drawing is that? It's a drawing made by Larry Butts. Him again. What can you prove with that poor attempt at artistry? That there was something outside the window? Larry made this drawing before he switched the lanterns, so it must have been right around when the murder was being committed. So if I could direct the court's attention here... Is that a pterodactyl? Does that mean that the airship actually went back to the... is that Cretaceous period?
Objection!
No, I think he just mistook a bird for a pterodactyl. We've already proven that time travel is nothing more than a gimmick, did we not? We did, and I have no intention of bringing up that argument again. But this drawing shows us an important piece of information. It shows us that the airship was actually moored on the ground. And what makes you so sure? If it was flying, there won't be something outside the window. That's easy. All you have to do is consider who made this drawing. Larry. That's right, it was Mr. Butts. We both know what he's like. He must have seen something else and mistaken it for a pterodactyl. I can't argue with you there. Oh. Hey, wait just one doggone second there. What kind of moron do you guys take me for? I saw it with my own eyes. A pterodactyl flew right by the window, I tell you. I have the sharp eyes of an artist. Don't you believe me? No. Nick. Nope. Some friends you guys are. What about the judge? You believe me, right, Your Honor? I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you need to leave this courtroom. Bailiff, if you would. Come on, buddy, let's go. Why doesn't anybody believe me? Poor Larry. Don't take it personally, Larry. I know you're just being, well, You. Now then, so you're saying what Mr. Butts really saw bears some relation to what was outside the airship at the time of the murder? Yes, Your Honor. At least, I think it does. What the pterodactyl really is will prove the airship was anchored at the mooring dock. It had better, anyway. If it doesn't, my whole argument is a bust. If you're that confident about it, then please go ahead and tell us what it really was. Yes, Your Honor. Oh. Think, Phoenix, what could that pterodactyl actually have been? The map. It's the colour. It also looks like it's a shape like a bird. Ah, I was wrong entirely. It wasn't a bird at all, it was a map.
Take that!
Please take a good look at this sign. At the sign? It appears to have been broken and then repaired. But what does this sign have to do with the pterodactyl? Please focus on this part of the sign. The part that broke off and got reattached. What about it? What about if we turn it like this? There it is. Oh, that shape! It's the pterodactyl in the drawing. Wow, that's quite clever. What Mr. Butts actually saw was this chunk of it. Oh, it was this chunk as it was being blown through the air by wind. What? Wow, he made a drawing of that real fast. Also, his book's empty. Or at least it looks like it is. On the day of the murder, there were some heavy winds in the area of the mooring dock. But it's hard to imagine that this sign would make it up as high as the airship would fly. Or as an airship would fly. That means the flying chapel must have been anchored at the mooring dock that night. Isn't that right, Mr. Sprocket? Oh god, don't stab your finger again.
Objection!
Okay, good. Phew. That's more than enough of this power of love nonsense, you pop culture junkie. Present all the proof you want, but your argument is based far too much in conjecture. Why don't we return to reality now? What do you mean, too much conjecture? Even if the airship wasn't flying, that alone doesn't prove the witness went along the wall. True. Even now, it's no more than a possibility. Then how do you propose Mr. Sprocket got to the Vista deck, Mr. Eggsworth? I noticed something as I went over the evidence. Please, take a look at this hold entry record. What about it? I don't see Mr. Sprocket listed on here anywhere. Oh, is he gonna present the fact that he used Ellen's card? Or something? Yeah, because Ellen would have been with Dumbass. Don't you remember? In yesterday's session, we had a very similar kind of argument. Did we? Honestly, Mr. Wright, are you going senile already? We talked about Larry Butts using the defendant's keycard to enter the hold. Oh, we did talk about that, didn't we? In other words, even if a person's name isn't on the entry record, it's still possible for that person to have entered by using someone else's card. Oh, are we gonna say that he used Pierce's? Mr. Sprocket, you entered the hold with Mr. Nicody, didn't you? Or Nickety. I did? What? Why didn't you tell us that in the first place? Pierce is indispensable. I didn't want to mention him unnecessarily and risk having him wrongly accused. I couldn't do without him. Mr. Sprocket, I ask that you testify in greater detail about your movements that night. Okay, we're approaching 2 hours. The truth. The truth is, I went to the Vista deck with Pierce. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. By the time we reached the scene, it was all over. Well, this doesn't help me one bit. Mr. Sprocket, you've concealed information from us time and time again. Who do you think you are, treating this court of law with such irreverence? Or irreverence. Whatever. That being said, I do appreciate the testimony you gave just now. Thanks to you, we now know why your name doesn't appear on the entry record. Now there are no more inconsistencies in the witness's testimony. That's Mr. Edgeworth for you. He never leaves a loose end dangling. You okay, Nick? Wouldn't exactly call the situation okay. Somehow I'll have to coax the information we need for an opening out of him. If I even can, that is. We can try. The truth. I went to the Vista deck with Pierce. You didn't mention this because you didn't want Mr. Nicody to fall under suspicion. Is that because he has something to hide? I just didn't want the police to take up his time with all their questions, that's all. Neither the company nor the household would function smoothly without him. I see. Wow, it sounds like Pierce is absolutely indispensable to the Sprockets. Anyway, getting back to your statement. When did you meet up with Mr. Nicody? Or Nickety? We met up on my way to the Vista deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor, but Pierce heard the commotion and came running to my aid. He could hear the pandemonium all the way from another floor? Mr. Wright, would you like the current statement added to the witness's testimony? Wait, shit. I read that out, but it didn't kind of like stick in my mind. When do you meet with Mr. Nicody? We went on the way to the Vista deck. I think Pierce and some of my relatives were on another floor. But Pierce heard the commotion and came running to my aid. Could hear the pandemonium all the way from another floor. Yeah, that sounds pretty important. Yes, please, Your Honor. Very well. Pierce heard the commotion and he came running. Did Mr. Nicody come alone? I believe some of his subordinates were with him, but I don't remember exactly how many. He may say there were others, but seeing how they pulled that second reception off, I can't completely trust anything he has to say either. I see. So you, Mr. Nicody, God. You, Mr. Nicody, and a few others headed to the Vista deck, is that right? That's right. That's why my name doesn't appear on the hold entry record. Your name doesn't appear on the hold entry record because you entered with Mr. Nicody using his keycard? That's right. So I guess the hold entry record doesn't matter as much as we thought. But now that Soren's saying he was with Pierce and a few others, it's pretty tough to refute that statement. What's the matter, Mr. Wright? Cat got your tongue? Did you finally realise there's no point in continuing this trial any longer? Of course not. I'll wipe that smug look off your face. Mr. Sprocket, please continue with your testimony. Okay, that was a worthless statement then. I was badly injured from being stabbed, but I was frantic. Speaking of your injury, how are you doing now? The knife wound is deep. Knife? Wait, what? Knife? The knife wound is deep and continues to throb with pain. Fortunately, my internal organs were spared. But one wrong move would have spelled the end for me there. Even so, I've seen you up and about all over the place since the incident. I'm only following my doctor's orders to perform some daily light exercises. Mr. Wright, would you like Mr. Sprocket's statement about his condition added to his testimony? Yes. Not that it appears especially relevant to me. Should I have him add it to... Yeah. Add it to his testimony. Especially if he mentions it was a knife. Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to have it added to his testimony. I see. Very well. The knife wound is quite deep and continues to throb with pain. Well, there we go. I wondered why you mentioned it being a knife when we know for a fact it was a candle. Or a candelabra.
Objection!
Mr. Sprocket, you just said your injury is a knife wound, didn't you? But the weapon you were stabbed with was this candelabra. A fact I know you're quite aware of. Because it made him collapse. Very well. This is what I heard directly from Master Sorum himself. As you surmised, Master Sorum was stabbed by Gloomsbury on the day of the murder. It happened after the first wedding reception. The happy couple was in the reception hall when suddenly Gloomsbury appeared. He attacked Miss Ellen and tried to take her away. Master Sorum went to stop him and found himself in a struggle with Gloomsbury. That is when Master Sorum was stabbed with the candelabra, he said.
Objection!
Wait, why is he looking at his notes? Must have been a simple memory slip that made him misspeak. It happens to everyone. It has nothing to do with the case. You must be pretty desperate to point out something so minute. I have to agree, Mr. Wright. You hardly need to make such a big deal over such a small mistake. But I contend that it's an important inconsistency. Besides, I couldn't find anything else. This is the only thing I have to go after. And I say it's not important. Now let's not waste any more time on this matter. I agree. Everybody has a little memory lapse every now and then.
Hold it!
But Your Honor, please let me explain. But can you? Can you really explain to this court what makes this slip so important? Yes, I can, Your Honor. After all, it was Sorum himself who told Pierce that he had been stabbed by a candelabra. This is more than a simple memory slip. There has to be some kind of reason for it. Yeah, he puts down every minute detail, so he would not, you know, screw up and say that it was a knife when it wasn't. Well, Mr. Wright, please explain why the witness's slip of the tongue is so important. The point to focus on here is why the witness would mistake the weapon used to stab him. Think carefully, Phoenix. This could very well change the course of the trial. I see. So why did the witness make that mistake? Right? Mrs. Sprocket identified the wrong weapon used against him because... Ooh. He misspoke? Covering for some... Oh my god. He has no memory of it. God, this is quite weird, because I've recently watched F, A Tale of Memories, and this kind of has something similar. An accident happens in that, and then one of the characters can only retain 13 hours of her memory at a time, and so she makes, you know, she plots down literally everything that happened, so that she doesn't forget. Like who people are, what she did in a day, etc. It's really quite cool. Oh man, I wonder if that's going to be the same sort of thing. He got into an accident and then he has like memory lapses. Or like memory problems. He has no memory of it. That's why he changed. And started to put down minute details. He doesn't remember the incident, let alone the weapon used against him. Not only that, but I believe Mr. Sprocket has some sort of memory disorder. Therefore, the defense contends that Mr. Sprocket's testimony thus far is invalid.
Objection!
Just because you can't find a flaw in his testimony, you want to throw it all out? I've just realised his glasses are actually on his jacket. Your baseless claim is nothing but pure slander of the witness's character. Mr. Edgeworth is correct, Mr. Wright. Can you explain your grounds for making this claim? Of course, Your Honour. Think of what Soren has said, how he's behaved, that's where I'll find a clue. Very well, let's hear your argument then. My grounds for claiming that Mr. Sprocket has a memory disorder is his notebook. The notebook he always has with him. I saw daily events and information about the people around him recorded in it. Like a diary, perhaps? No, this detailed everything. No, Your Honour, it's much too detailed to be an ordinary diary. It's more of on the order of a database, actually. database, you say? Ow. Just flicked my laptop. That hurt. That's right. For some reason, Mr. Sprocket is apparently unable to retain memories. That's why he writes every little detail of his life down in his notebook.
Objection!
How could you possibly know that for sure? He might just be an extremely compulsive person. I thought so too myself at first. To be honest, we accidentally got a stain on his notebook on that notebook yesterday. You mean you got a stain on it? Hey, you're the one who tried to grab it out of my... whatever. Never mind whose fault it was, just get to the point already. Right, sorry. Mr. Sprocket. The page Miss Faye got a stain on yesterday, that's the page with the details of your stabbing on it, isn't it? No, I only write in this notebook because I'm very compulsive. Now drop the subject already. Sorry, but I'm not convinced. I noticed an odd fact about your notebook, Mr. Sprocket. On the earlier pages, you used it to write down invention ideas. But after a certain date, you started writing down a lot more, and in much more detail. I believe your memory disorder stems from what happened on that date. Something so monumental, it caused a memory disorder, Mr. Wright? You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but I do. Sorry, but I do know what I'm talking about, and this is the proof. This is the thing that caused Mrs. Sprocket's memory disorder. Alright, newspaper clipping. Here it is.
Take that!
You were involved in this car accident too, weren't you, Mr. Sprocket? And the shock of losing your beloved older sister is what caused you to develop your memory disorder. Is this true, Mr. Sprocket? Oof. Poor guy. Well, is it? Mr. Sprocket. It's true. That accident did something to my mind. God, it'd be incredibly cool if he's only able to retain 13 hours, because then it would literally be just like F, A Tale of Memories. What? Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep... God, it's the same! Kind of. It doesn't give you an actual amount of time, but it's the same sort of concept. She only retains memories for 13 hours, so when she goes to sleep, she forgets everything up to, like, 8 PM of the previous day. Ever since that day, every time I go to sleep, I lose my memories. And when I wake up, the most recent thing I can remember is the day I lost my sister. Oh! Oh god. I think the fact I actually watched, F A Tale of Memories before this is actually quite good. Just because it ties them together quite a bit. I mean, it's not to say that you need to watch it in order to understand the case, it's just, it's a cool little thing. It's as if I'm constantly going back in time. Oh, that's why it's Turnabout Time Traveler. What? That's truly tragic. An inconsolable time traveler who goes back in time whenever he goes to sleep. Right. Besides, time travelers do exist, you know? But you wouldn't understand. So that's what Soren meant. He was talking about himself. The reactions of the people around me each time I awoke made me aware of my condition. That's why I decided to write everything down in my notebook, so I could move forward. So the only memories you have since that day are the ones written in that notebook. That's right. And since the page about your stabbing got stained, you couldn't read from it, could you? There's just one more thing I'd like you to clarify for me, Mrs. Sprocket. Exactly what are your feelings towards the victim? Mr. Sprocket's feeling toward Dumbass Gloomsbury? That's right, Your Honor. The witness said that every time he wakes up from sleep, his mind goes back to the day his sister died. Mr. Wright, you can't mean... Mr. Sprocket. Your pent-up feelings of anger and resentment towards Mr. Gloomsbury for the accident were renewed each and every time you woke, weren't they? Or were they not? but you couldn't take it anymore, so you turned to murder. Isn't that right? Jesus. What? Mr. Wright, are you saying that the witness murdered Mr. Gloomsbury? For revenge? Well, Mrs. Sprocket? Aye. It's Ellen. It's Ellen. I knew it. Miss Wyatt. Your Honor? I did it. Oh my god. I killed Mr. Gloomsbury. No! What? She's only doing it to protect him. Miss Wyatt, what are you trying to do? Don't tell me you're still thinking of going that route. Soren is innocent, he can't be found guilty. Take me instead. Ellen, please, try and get a hold of yourself. I guess you really meant it. My Soren didn't do anything wrong. I'm the one who should be convicted. Are we to understand that you're confessing your guilt? No, no, no. No, wait just a minute here. Ellen, why would you cover for me? After I testified that I thought you must have killed him. I'll admit, I couldn't believe my ears at first. But all I want is for you to be happy. Your happiness is my happiness, Soren. Aww. But without my notebook, I'd even forget those feelings of yours by tomorrow. Knowing that, do you still feel this way? You've loved me all this time. The same way you did before the accident. That's how I know. That you're the same person I've always loved. No disorder can change that. Aww. Ellen. Your Honor, there are two things I'd like to correct. Two corrections? What are they? First of all, I want to withdraw one of my statements. That's right. Dumbass was killed by Ellen. Oh. Without memories to rely on, I took the police completely at their word. Oh. You can't be serious. So that means... Soren never really doubted Ellen in the first place, did he, Nick? Ellen really does love Soren with all her heart. But in order to save her, I'll still have to go after Soren. I hope you can forgive me, Ellen. And what is your other correction, Mr. Sprocket? The truth is, I never felt anger or resentment towards Dumbass about my sister. What? Why not? It's because... the one who caused the car accident was me. Oh no. What? Ew. Looking at Phoenix from that angle was great. His mouth was so huge. But order! Order in the court! Please continue, Mr. Sprocket. I'm the one who killed my sister. To protect my career and my future, my father made Dumbass take the blame. In exchange for money and the position of the lead servant. Soren was driving. Oh no. So you see, Dumbass must have held a grudge against me, not the other way around. That would make sense as to why he stabbed you. And he must have attacked Ellen to get his revenge on me. Are you sure about all of this, Mr. Sprocket? Very sure. It's all been written down in detail in my notebook. That notebook is important evidence supplying background to this case. I must insist you submit it as evidence. Soren's notebook, added to the court record. Again. The lawyer said I had turned to murder, but that's just not true. However, it is true that my older sister and Dumbass are both dead because of me and my negligence. I just glanced through Mr. Sprocket's notebook. I wasn't able to read the part about when he was stabbed due to the bloodstain. But what's written here about his sister's car accident is exactly as he stated. Your Honor? As long as it matches what's written in that notebook. Can we still take the witness's testimony as valid in spite of his memory disorder? Yes, I believe we can. I understand. I understand now that the witness's memory is in disarray. But if what Mr. Sprocket himself wrote in this notebook is true, Then that means by the time Mr. Sprocket's party reached the scene, the victim had already been killed. Idris right. I'm still in the same bind as before. But should I really simply accept the contents of the notebook? As a substitute for Soren's memory? Well, Mr. Wright, what do you think? Will you accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories? Will I accept Mr. Sprocket's notebook as an official representation of his memories? No. Wait a minute, Your Honor. The defense requests a chance to examine the notebook to see if it's trustworthy. Very well, but be quick about it. Thank you, Your Honor. So, how should we examine it? Well, we should look at it from all different angles to see if there's anything suspicious. We can examine. It's quite thin. There's no point if I don't look at what's inside. I have to open it. With your permission, Soren, here I go. Ooh. Yikes. No, it's just the page that Maya got stained. Maya got all stained, but I guess it's not going to be very helpful at this moment. I'll keep going. Oh! This is the last page where there's writing. Something about this page doesn't sit right with me. I better take a closer look. They should have made it a bit less obvious that there was a page torn out, but, I mean, whatever. Nothing special about the cover. Oh. Yeah, I'm trying to move the hand. Huh? The page has been torn out, and it looks like there was something written on it. It looks like a page has been torn out here. Mr. Sprocket, do you know what was written on it? Oh, that? I often tear out a page when I write somebody a note. I probably wrote something down for somebody, tore it out, and gave it to them. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yeah. That solves that, then.
Objection!
Wait a minute. We can't ignore the possibility that something important was written on that page. But now that the page has been torn out, how can we determine what was written there? Well... let's see. To find out what was written in the notebook, we should... Ooh! Fingerprint powder? Would that work? I was gonna... no, holding up top... oh no, it would be fingerprint powder, because of the imprints that would be made when writing. If we use fingerprint powder on the notebook, we might be able to see what was written. Fingerprint powder? How would that help us find out what was written there? Well, if the writing left indentations on the blank page behind it, fingerprint powder could make those small indentations visible to the naked eye. Oh, stop. Fingerprint powder would only sully the notebook further. Mr. Wright, if you use the powder and still don't find anything, then you must accept the notebook as a representation of the witness's memories. Alright, Your Honor. I understand. If I don't find anything, it's all over anyway. Powder, don't fail me now. I will now use fingerprint powder on the blank page to find out if we can see what was written on the torn out page. Ah, great, it's telling me how to do it. First, I tap a spot to dust it with fingerprint powder. When I've dusted on enough powder, I tap the blow panel to blow the excess powder away. If something should appear, I should tap Analyze, point to what came up, and then tap Confirm. Thank you, tutorial. Much appreciated. Boopy doobie 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 doobie. Oh, I'm caking this fucking thing. I've only done a small amount. Kind of wish I could, you know, zoom out, but it's not possible. Oh, there we go. I really just want to use all of it. Shit. Ah, fuck. Oh, we're nearly there. How many more dusts do I have? Like 2? There we go, we're all out. Blow. Ooh, wait. Oh. Almost took Ellen to the Vista deck. I struck... Oh dear. Uh-oh. I struck and killed Dumbass. So if I analyse... I don't know if it matters which one I analyse. Dumbass took Ellen to the Vista deck. This has to do with the case. There might be some other important message here too then. Yeah, there is. And it's one that incriminates him. There, that should hopefully work. It says I struck and killed Dumbass. Then this is huge. This is huge. I struck and killed Dumbass. That's what was written on the torn out page. What? It can't be. I don't believe it. There has to be some kind of mistake. Soren would never. Could never. She just faint. Miss Wyatt. Bailiff, please get the defendant to the infirmary at once. Oh dear. Apparently the defendant got too worked up. She's resting in the infirmary as we speak. Now then, please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. This notebook is all Mr. Sprocket has to remember things by. With this critical page torn out, not even Mr. Sprocket himself knew the truth of what he'd done. I'm the one who killed Dumbass. So it wasn't Ellen. Oh, thank goodness. Mr. Sprocket, does this mean you were at the crime scene during the murder after all? I guess I must have been. Notebook that records Soren's memories in minute detail. One of the pages has been torn out. But Mr. Sprocket, can we really believe what's written in this notebook? Nobody touches this notebook but me. And when I sleep, it's under lock and key. I don't remember writing that I killed Dumbass, but I guess I must have. Somebody else did. Well, now that we have a confession, I'm afraid I must render my verdict. Of all the... Yes, Your Honour. Please, give your ruling now, while Ellen is asleep. I want the woman I love to be set free as soon as possible. Soren really does love Ellen after all, doesn't he? Yeah. So this is how it ends. But is that how it really went down? Is there really no way for them both to be happy? I know we should consider anything written in the notebook to be the truth, but still. I myself wrote of the crime in my notebook. No further proof is necessary. Soren himself wrote it in his notebook. Wait a minute. Very well. I will now give my verdict. Ellen is about to be found not guilty, and Soren will be convicted for the crime instead. And yet... am I really ready for the judge to give his verdict? His ruling? No. No, not when there's still one more avenue left to explore. This court finds the defendant, Ellen Wyatt... Your Honour, there's still something that bothers me about that notebook. Oh, is there? What are you doing, Mr. Wright? All you have to do is keep quiet and your client's a free woman. I know, but I think there might be more to this case than meets the eye. I'm not quite sure yet, but I think there still might be a way. A way for Ellen and Soren to be happy. What do you mean by more than meets the eye, Mr. Wright? I believe the question here, Your Honour, should be... why was the incriminating page torn out in the first place? Why, to destroy the evidence, I would imagine. But removing it from the notebook is the same as removing it from Mr. Sprocket's memory. Which means he wouldn't have been able to trick the police if he came under suspicion. Now, if he wanted to cover up his crime, he would have to remember that he had done it. Just what are you getting at with this line of inquiry, Mr. Wright? Yes, please explain it so that we can all understand. Yes, Your Honor. You got it, OG. The page was torn out of the notebook because he wanted to forget what happened. It was torn out by accident. Ooh, somebody else tore it out. Oh. Oh. And I know who. Oh my god, am I gonna be right? I love it when a plan comes together. I say someone's, you know, the criminal as a joke and it ends up being the truth. It's happened a couple times now. The incriminating page was torn out by somebody else. The only other person that had access to his notebook was Pierce. What? To be fair, we don't actually know he did it. It's just ironic that I'm gonna have to name him. Order, order. Are you claiming a third person interfered with the notebook? It's not all that surprising if you consider what's happened up until now. After both the car accident and the murder of Thomas Bloomsbury, there was always a cover-up not far behind. And who orchestrated it? But I had my notebook with me at all times. No, you didn't. Did you? Because I remember you were in a panic yesterday because you couldn't find it. That's true. So who orchestrated this particular cover-up, Mr. Wright? The one person that cares about the Sprocket reputation. God, I thought that word was wrong. If we think back over the course of the trial, it's pretty easy to guess. The one who may have tried to tamper with Soren's memories is... Pierce Nickety. He's only 26? Wow. Alright. There we go. I didn't actually know it said that. He seems to be unusually attached to the pocket watch he carries around. He's her fiancé.
Take that!
Yeah. I'm almost certain. Because of the pocket watch. The one who tampered with the notebook in order to manipulate Mrs. Sprocket's memory is the battler. Is Pierce Nickety. Pierce? Pierce tried to tamper with my memories? Pierce was manipulating me. Case in point, the two receptions that were held to cover up the murder. It was Mr. Nickety who directed the guests and orchestrated the entire scheme. No, it can't be. Which of my memories are mine and which have been rewritten? When did he start rewriting my memories? Who wrote this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? And this? Oh god. What the fuck? Bye, Soren. He literally took off. What? So his memories have been rewritten. Look, Nick, he's coming back down. Oh god. My memories. Ellen. And now he collapsed. Mr. Sprocket. Bailiff, please get Mr. Sprocket to the infirmary. On the double. Jesus Christ. Mr. Sprocket has been taken to the infirmary. We don't have to worry about him running away, so let us resume where we left off. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Pierce Nickety to the stand.
Objection!
We already know he carried out the cover-up to protect the company and Mrs. Sprocket. What more do you want from him? This time it's different. The notebook, or rather Mr. Sprocket's memories, have been tampered with. That means the only person who knows the whole truth is now Mr. Nickety. Don't tell me. Are you actually trying to drum up a third suspect? In order to exonerate the defendant and her groom? I'm not drumming up anything, nor do I have grounds to accuse him of anything. Yet. All I know is that Mr. Nickety is the one who knows the truth. Is the only one who knows the truth. And I think he's still hiding something. Something we don't know about yet. No grounds yet, is it? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, does the prosecution consent to calling the witness to the stand? It does, Your Honour. However, I would like a little time to talk with the witness before we do. Very well. We will break for a 20-minute recess. Dunk. So, to be continued? Of course. Well, we're now in the final stretch. We're getting there. Woo! Nice. Do. Right, so lobby number 3. Now we'll have to face Pierce on the stand. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not. One thing's for sure, he won't be an easy adversary. So, do you think Pierce did it? Still too late to say anything at this point. But I do think he's still hiding something. Nick, why didn't you pin everything on Soren loser back there? Looks like Larry still hasn't given up on Ellen. If this Pierce guy is the real bad guy, then Soren and my Ellie will live happily ever after together. Larry, that's not the kind of thing a decent human being says. Shame on you, Larry. Oh, boo-hoo. You think I don't know? I know I have to give up on my Ellie. But Nick, promise you'll make her happy. She deserves a happily ever after. I'm sure Soren will make her happy, once all of this is said and done. The trial is about to resume, Mr. Wright. Alright, you ready, Maya? Ooh. Yep, let's go. I'll be rooting for you, Nick. Boom. Alright. The final stretch, I guess. This court is now back in session. Witness, please take the stand. There he is. Please state your name and occupation. My name is Pierce Nickety. I am the Sprocket family butler. Let's get straight to the point, Mr. Nickety. Someone tore out a page from Mr. Sprocket's notebook to manipulate his memories. And that person was you, wasn't it? That is correct. What about it? Well, that was easy. So why did you do it? Why did you tamper with Mr. Sprocket's notebook? Please allow me to explain. It pains me to do this, but I will tell you the truth. It pains you? That is correct. For my testimony will go against Master Soren's wishes. Soren's wishes? What is he talking about? He's gonna pin this on Ellen. Why I tore out the page. I rushed to the Vista deck, but the crime had already been committed. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapsed and Master Soren writing in his notebook. Master Soren said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder. Oh, pardon me. I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. But I went against his order. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body. Wait a second. What Mr. Sprocket was writing in his notebook at the time, could it be? It was meant to be a confession, an admission he'd killed Gloomsbury himself. He wrote that message to take the blame for Miss Wyatt. That is correct. Master Soren did hit Gloomsbury with the timekeeper to save Ellen. Then Mr. Sprocket was the culprit after all. However, that blow did not kill Gloomsbury. That makes sense. Mr. Sprocket's injury wouldn't allow him to put much force into it. Enraged, Gloomsbury tried to attack Master Soren, who was already seriously wounded. But just in the nick of time, Miss Ellen hit Gloomsbury from behind, and finished him off, it would seem. So the one who inflicted the fatal blow was the defendant. Yes, that is correct. But Master Soren tried to take all of the blame onto himself. No way. This is pretty bad, Nick. No kidding. Pretty bad is an understatement. Well, well, Mr. Wright. It seems your decision to call Mr. Nickety has backfired. For the true culprit behind this case remains the defendant, Ellen Wyatt. Could this get any worse? But Pierce was involved in the cover-up plot. And I bet he still has something to hide. Why I tore out the page. Over to the Vista deck, the crime had already been committed. I only asked for statements. Wait a minute. I thought you went to the Vista deck with Mr. Sprocket. Actually, that is not true. What do you mean? I found this out afterward, but Master Soren went to the Vista deck alone. He went out the escape hatch in the reception hall and went along the outside wall. What? You can't be serious. You mean Mr. Wright's addle-patted guess was actually correct? What's with the addle-patted? I suppose truth really is stranger than fiction. So, Mr. Nickety, when you got to the scene, you saw Mr. Gloomsbury, Miss Wyatt, and Mr. Sprocket. Is that right? That is exactly right. Okay. I saw Miss Ellen and Gloomsbury collapsed and Master Soren writing in his notebook. So when you and your group arrived at the Vista deck, the murder had already been committed. That is correct. Gloomsbury had already been struck. Miss Ellen had lost consciousness, probably from the shock of the incident. And how did Mr. Sprocket appear? He was bleeding from the stab wound he'd received from Gloomsbury. Barely conscious, he was writing something in his notebook. So the mysterious third person Ellen saw really was Soren then. Ah. Master Soren said to me, I'll take the blame for the murder, so please take care of Ellen. Hold it. So Mr. Sprocket wrote a note of confession in order to take the blame for Miss Wyatt. Yes. That notebook is the only form of memory Master Soren has. So you understand what his action meant, I trust. What did it mean, Nick? To Soren, everything in that notebook is true. So Soren tried to take the blame, by altering his own memory to make himself think he did it. No. Master Soren truly loves Miss Ellen. It must have been love that made him do it. Or do that. I went against his orders. I tore the page out of his notebook and hid the body. Mr. Nickety, could you please tell this court about that in more detail? That, you say? Which part do you mean, Mr. Wright? Could you be more specific? Oh, alright. What part do I want to know more about? Hiding the body. Please tell me more about the hiding of the body. Very well. After saying he would take the blame, Master Soren passed out. That's when I hid the body. I quickly took the lift down to the hold, where I hid Gloomsbury's still warm body in the spare peggable lantern. So it was you who hid the body, not the defendant. To think Mr. Butts would move the lantern containing the body to the reception hall. Well, I did not see that coming. I don't blame you. Not even Larry can predict what Larry will do next. Maybe I should take another look at the lantern and evidence. Mr. Wright, would you like that statement to be added to the witness's testimony? Sure. Yes, please. Very well. Please add that statement to your testimony, Mr. Nickety. In the hall, I hid the still warm body in the spare peggable lantern. It said to look into it. What am I looking at? Oh! Yeah, it just said there's a bloodstain on the inside wheel. As if somebody gripped it with a bloody hand. Could it be? Is that what happened? If what I'm thinking is true, then maybe I can prove neither Ellen nor Soren did the deed. Mr. Nicody, you said the body was still warm when you hit it, correct? So then, what if Mr. Gloomsbury was still alive when you went to put his body in the lantern? Inside the lantern? What? What? That's preposterous. Oh, he would have suffocated. Actually, this shows that the victim might have still been alive while inside the lantern. I'm afraid you'll have to point out which part you're talking about, Mr. Wright. This part here shows that the victim might have still been alive inside the lantern. Yeah, the handle. As you can see, the back end of the lantern is a door. Or at the back end. Oh no, there we go. And there's blood here on the wheel handle. That bloodstain must have gotten there when the witness put the body inside the lantern. It in no way shows that the victim drew his last breath while he was within the lantern. I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth, for you see, in putting this lantern back together, the police inadvertently placed the inside handle on the outside and vice versa. In other words, the wheel handles got swapped. Oh my, so they got swapped? Yes, they got swapped. What? But that's ridiculous. Not at all. If you compare the other male peggable lantern in the reception hall, it's quite obvious the wheel handles were attached backwards. The detective in charge of the restoration will see me in my office later. Sorry, Emma, and good luck. There we go. God, I'm sorry, it won't click. In that case, what does this bloodstain on the wheel handle mean? The bloodstain didn't get there by chance. When the victim was put inside the lantern, he was only unconscious, not dead. When he regained consciousness, he probably tried to get out of the lantern. So he grabbed the inner wheel handle, and that's when the blood got on it. This proves that the victim was still alive when he was inside the lantern. At the time, I was completely convinced Gloomsbury was dead. Had I checked more carefully, he might have survived. Unfortunate, to be sure, but not significant enough to change this trial's outcome. Again, I disagree, Mr. Edgeworth. It actually has a very significant impact on this case. The victim was struck by the defendant, then died from his injuries some time later. There's nothing more to it. That's where you're wrong. Let's take another look at Mr. Gloomsbury's autopsy report, shall we? Please focus on the description of his injuries. Cause of death, cerebral hemorrhage from a strong blow to the head. One contusion was found on the back of his head and one on the side. The blows were caused by the same weapon. It says one contusion was found on the back of the head and one on the side. Yes, the one Mrs. Sprocket gave him, and the one Miss Wyatt delivered to finish him off. No, the defense would like to submit a different interpretation. A different interpretation? The victim was knocked unconscious by the first blow, and was then put into the lantern. Then, what about the lethal blow by the defendant that the witness was talking about? Yes, well, that didn't happen. After some time, when the victim regained consciousness and tried to get out of the lantern, that's when he received the second blow that finished him off. Taking into account the fact that the victim was alive for a period after the first hit, and that he did receive a second blow to the head, it does seem entirely possible. Yes, as long as the first blow didn't kill the victim instantly, then there's a possibility that someone other than Mr. Sprocket or Miss Wyatt delivered the fatal blow. That's all you've got? Even if there was a time lag between the two blows, The prosecution's position doesn't change. What? What do you mean? It's elementary, dear Watson. Mr. Wright. After the reception, when the defendant was cleaning up the reception hall, the victim, who was supposed to be dead, suddenly came out of the lantern. The defendant grabbed the murder weapon, which was right there, and finished him off. That theory sounds awfully familiar. Of course it does, Your Honor, because it's exactly what I proposed at the very start. The second blow was inflicted by the defendant, after all. I see. It seems a tangle of mysteries was unravelled into a single thread.
Objection!
But as long as there's a possibility that the fatal blow was delivered by a third person, then we must continue the deliberations. Give it up, Mr. Wright. Unless you have something to prove the presence of your precious third person. Okay, Nick, just relax. You can do this. Come on now, take some deep breaths. Good idea. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. There, don't you feel better already? Maya's right. I should calm down, get my focus back and go over everything again. And then hopefully I'll be able to find something to prove there was a third person. Let's see. First, why did Gloomsbury attack Ellen? Because he was tired of taking the blame for the accident? Something about that line of reasoning just doesn't feel quite right to me. No, how come? Well, if it's just a personal vendetta, he had already stabbed Soren. So why then was he so determined to go after Ellen? You're right, this whole thing feels too premeditated for a crime of passion. Why the hell has that popped up? But Gloomsbury didn't seem to have a personal grudge against Ellen. If Gloomsbury didn't have a personal reason to attack Ellen, then he was just following orders. You've taken long enough, Mr. Wright. Now it's time for some action. What proof do you have that a third person was involved? Alright, I'll show you. Not completely sure of what I'm doing yet, but it looks like I'm out of time. This piece of evidence proves the involvement of a third person.
Take that!
I get it now. Now I see why this note bothered me so much when I first saw it. It looks like a note outlining the murder plot. That note was apparently written by the victim. But why would he feel the need to write instructions to himself like this? Your Honor, please take a look at this note. This is the victim's murder plan, right? It's definitely a murder plan, but what if Mr. Gloomsbury didn't write this note himself? What? This is how you intend to conjure up your mysterious third party, Mr. Wright? Can we even prove that that note wasn't written by the victim? Yes. Yes, I can. Very well then. Please present your evidence, Mr. Wright. This evidence proves the victim didn't write the note. Oh, it'll be the candelabra. Because he's left-handed. Dominant hand.
Take that!
This is the weapon Mr. Gloomsbury used to stab Mr. Sprocket. I was wondering what you'd pull out this time. Dare I ask what you could possibly have to do with the note? What that could possibly have to do with the note? Mr. Gloomsbury's prints were found on this candelabra, and the prints were from his left hand. So, that makes the victim left-handed, correct? Exactly, Your Honor. The police looked into it too and confirmed as much. Now take a look at the smudge writing in the note. Notice how the smudging only starts from the middle of each preceding line. Had this been written by a lefty, the writing would have been smudged from the far left end. This means that whoever wrote this note was definitely right-handed. In other words, somebody other than the victim wrote this note. What? But if someone other than Mr. Gloomsbury wrote it, then what does this note mean? Mr. Gloomsbury followed this note to the letter when he attacked Miss Wyatt. So clearly, this note isn't a murder plan written by Mr. Gloomsbury, but rather, these are instructions to kill Miss Wyatt issued by somebody else. If it wasn't the victim who wrote these so-called instructions, then who wrote it? Most of the people involved are right-handed, you know. He is correct. The majority of the family and their employees who were on the airship are indeed right-handed. I must say, that is a very rough and slipshod conjecture you've proposed. I admit I haven't figured out who wrote it just yet. Leave it to Mr. Edgeworth to go for the jugular. This culprit who ordered Bloomsbury to attack Ellen. What could their motive have been? Doesn't seem very likely Ellen did anything to incur anybody's wrath, right? Right, not too likely anyway. In that case, it has to be about Soren. If somebody were to hold a grudge against Soren, what would it be about? That accident, I guess. Could understand if Bloomsbury felt resentful about having to take the blame. But the one who lost the most of that accident was Soren's sister. She lost her life after all. Soren suffered too, of course. He was crushed by losing somebody so precious to him. Somebody precious, huh? Soren's sister. Wait, there's one more person. There's someone else who must hold a grudge against Soren. Did you figure something out? I think so. I think this somebody else used Bloomsbury to try and get revenge against Soren. Did you say somebody tried to get revenge against Mr. Sprocket, Mr. Wright? The person who manipulated and used Mr. Bloomsbury was Selina's fiancé. I was right. I knew it. All because of that bloody pocket watch. The person who used Mr. Bloomsbury to try and get revenge on Mr. Sprocket, and then finish Mr. Bloomsbury off to silence him, was a man dear to Mr. Sprocket's older sister, Selina Sprocket's fiancé. Not that I'm not positive, but it's certainly possible. This fiancé could have made Bloomsbury attack Ellen to get his revenge on Soren. What? Her fiancé? Order in the court. Order, I say. Yes, it does seem quite believable that Miss Selina Sprocket's fiancé would bear a grudge against Mr. Sprocket for his role in the accident. Exactly, Your Honor. Maybe her fiancé was trying to murder Miss Wyatt, in order to make Mr. Sprocket experience the same pain he'd felt.
Objection!
Ah. Miss Sprocket's fiancé was a surgeon, if memory serves. But the only people who attended the reception were family and staff members. That may be, but then that just means that Miss Sprocket's fiancé must have been among those who attended. What, really? Of course, otherwise, how could he have killed Bloomsbury? Oh, I see what you're doing. This is just another giant bluff, isn't it? Alright, I'll bite. Who exactly do you claim this fiancé to be? Yes, I would like to know as well. Are you sure you're going to be okay, Nick? Maybe. When it comes to suspicious people, there's only one person on my list. I need to find something that connects him to Selina. Oh. This'll help us identify Miss Sprocket's fiancé. I was right! Oh my god. It's not even the fact that I was right about him being her fiancé, it's more the fact that the pocket watch is what led me to that.
Take that!
Please take a look at this photo, Your Honor. For that photo. Notice Miss Sprocket's pocket watch. Haven't we seen it somewhere before? Yes, now that you mention it, I do feel as if I've seen it somewhere before. What do you have to say about that, Pierce? I believe we've all seen it. Right here in this very courtroom. Impossible. That's right, the pocket watch in this photo. It's the same pocket watch Mr. Nickety has on him right now. I wonder if inside it is actually just a picture. What? This is clear proof of a strong connection between Pierce Nickety and Selina Sprocket. No. Well, Mr. Nickety, is this true? Mr. Nickety, you were once engaged to Selina Sprocket. That pocket watch, you keep it as a memento of her, don't you? Mr. Nickety, you plan to rob Mr. Sprocket of his loved one, to make him feel the same pain as you. Isn't that right? But Mr. Sprocket managed to fight back, and knocked Mr. Gloomsbury unconscious. You thought Mr. Gloomsbury was dead, and hid his body in the lantern. But then you noticed Mr. Gloomsbury regain consciousness. And so you finished him off to prevent your plan from being exposed. This is the defense's take on what really happened in this murder case. Mr. Wright, does this mean you wish to officially accuse this witness of the murder of Dumbass Bloomsbury? Yes. Does the defense accuse Mr. Nickety of the murder? Yes. The defense indicts Pierce Nickety on the charge of murdering Dumbass Bloomsbury. Oh my. Mr. Nickety, would you care to respond? He's just been staring at the pendant. Pocket watch. Man, this lawyer just yaps on and on and on. As you guessed, this watch is a memento of Selina. It stopped working at the time of the accident, though. Then, you really are. Now his true colours are gonna shine through. Yes, I was Selina's fiancé, and not just her fiancé, but the surgeon beside her deathbed.
Objection!
Mr. Nickety, why didn't you tell me any of this before? Shut it, you useless prosecutor. I thought you could be of use, but apparently this case was too much for you. What did you say? And if your office hadn't stuck its nose all up in this, I could have swept it under the rug. Not only did you interfere with the case, but you even let me fall under suspicion. That's because you kept trying to cover things up on the sly. But covering things up wasn't your only involvement. The only person who had a motive to use the victim to try and kill Miss Wyatt was you. Oh dear. Oh. Oh, is he going to put it on as a mask? Oh. Malignant tumours. There are malignant tumours in this courtroom. Is that lesions? Oozing with false charges. What the fuck? The tumours are one idiotic lawyer and one useless prosecutor. After the truth is revealed, I'll have the both of you incised from the legal world. That is loud. I'd like to see you try. With the power of the Sprocket family, it'd be a cinch. What the fuck? I will now begin the operation. What in the world happened to Mr. Nickety? Looks like he's finally showing his true colours. Nick, look what he did to that shoulder mech. Quit your yapping before I is that suture? Your chatty lips shut. It's like he's a completely different person. Sure looks like it, huh? We can't let our guards down now. Mr. Nickety, it's finally time for you to testify. To the truth. It seems we're entering the final act at last. Witness your testimony, please. Okay. Right to remain silent. Oh. Really? Mr. Nickety, why didn't you say anything? The fuck? Wait, is that a camera? He just took a picture of me. Or something. You want me to voluntarily testify, hoping I won't make a slip of the tongue. Not a very impressive plan, or brain, I might add. Ow. That was uncalled for. If you want to know something, you ask the question. I will answer, but I have no intention of making any voluntary statements of my own. What's he trying to do, Nick? He's using the silent treatment as his strategy to avoid getting tripped up. Clever guy. No more lies, Mr. Nickety. You will tell us nothing but the truth from now on. That's going to be an x-ray of him. What do you think you're doing? No one asked you to speak. Just keep quiet over there and play with your frills. How dare you? Well, this is a rather unconventional situation, but please proceed, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. I was hoping you would take one of the judge, and it'd just be nothing but a beard. Right to remain silent.
Hold it!
If he won't speak voluntarily, then I guess I'll have to ask him something. What question should I ask? Reason for killing Bloomsbury, grudge, actions on the day of the crime. On the day of the incident, you were constantly surrounded by your subordinates. Isn't that right? Absolutely. Well, absolutely. I was in someone's line of sight at all times. After all, I was busy taking care of every detail of the event. Mr. Edgeworth, I believe your investigation backs up my claim. I got statements that said groups of his subordinates worked with him in rotation. So he was always with someone. As the prosecutor just said. I couldn't even get close to the lantern containing Bloomsbury by myself, let alone kill him. Pierce didn't have a chance to get close to the victim. Get close to the victim. Oh, what's that say? To get close to the victim alone, huh? Add that statement. Yeah! Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to have that statement added to his testimony. Very well. As always in the company of others, I didn't have an opportunity to murder Bloomsbury. What does our evidence say? Oh my god, he did! If Bloomsbury was in that bowl, which he would have been because the other one's not moved, then it would have been covered by the fog, and he wasn't with anybody at that point. Oh!
Objection!
Clever. Mr. Nickety testifies that he was always with someone at the time of the incident, and never had a moment alone to commit the crime. Yes, and the police investigation backs that statement up, doesn't it? But there was an opportunity, in fact. One and only one. A moment when Mr. Nickety could have killed Mr. Bloomsbury without anyone noticing. What? And the one thing that made that moment possible is shown here. Is shown here in this photograph. With all those people watching, I couldn't have possibly committed murder. Do not believe him, Your Honor. This lawyer is a malignant tumour. He wants to infect his judicial... Oh, okay. He wants to infect this judicial body with virulent accusations. Mr. Nickety, I would ask that you keep quiet this time. We need to evaluate the defence's claim. And your yammering on only serves to throw further suspicion your way. Mr. Wright, let's see this one thing you mentioned. But be warned, this had better not be one of your offhanded claims. Who do you think you're talking to, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well, Mr. Wright. Please point out for us the one thing that has... Oh god, I can't read. That made the moment of the murder possible. That one moment when it was possible for Mr. Nickety to kill Mr. Bloomsbury. The one thing that made that single moment possible is this. I guess the only thing I could really point to is the fog machine. Right? I could point to the fog, but that doesn't really help. The one thing that made the moment of the murder possible is this thick mood fog that engulfed the entire reception hall. It is under the cover of this fog that Mr. Nickety murdered the victim. What? Mr. Nickety was standing right next to the lantern that Mr. Bloomsbury was in. He's also looking at it. This was the only moment the murder could have been committed without being seen. I can accept that there was a moment when the witness was obscured by others by fog. But that doesn't prove Mr. Nickety killed the victim at that very moment. If you can't prove the crime was committed during the reception, the trial ends here. I was so caught up in finding a foothold that I forgot to think that far ahead. Well done, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time to call this trial's time of death. Well, Mr. Wright, can you prove the murder happened during the reception? Don't even bother. His claim is dead on arrival. Victory is within your grasp, prosecutor. Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. Edgeworth. Enough of this. Your Honour, this trial is over. No, Mr. Nickety. That is for me to decide. Mr. Wright, can you prove it? Can you prove that the murder was committed during the wedding reception? Why is there no verdict yet? The lawyer's obviously out of answers. The prosecutor, the judge, they're all infected. Their malignant stupidity is so advanced, not even the best surgeons can save them. In fact, not even a brain transplant could cure them. This court is infected with idiocy. It's a pandemic. My god. Mr. Nickety, that's enough already. Finally ready to give up, are you? No, just the opposite, actually. I'll prove the murder was committed during the reception. By you. Ooh. You'll prove it? Can you really, Mr. Wright? Yes, I can, Your Honour. To be honest, I don't know exactly how I'll do it just yet. But if I want to get to the truth Edgeworth was talking about, I'll just have to find that way. Very well, Mr. Wright, let's have your proof. Enough of this foolishness, he's just bluffing. Stop him from speaking, Your Honour. I will do nothing of the sort. You are just a district court judge. With the power of the Sprocket family, I'll... Enough of your foolishness, Mr. Nickety. This judicial body will not succumb to the influence of money or power. Now then, let's hear it, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your truth. Think, Phoenix. Remember everything you've learned so far. You can do this. You can find the definitive evidence that will lead us to the truth. Here it is! Think, Phoenix. How can I prove the murder took place during the wedding reception? Oh, right. If Pierce committed the murder during the reception, then he had to have used the murder weapon. Yeah. It was right next to him. He used the murder weapon. Yes, the murder weapon that was used to strike the victim twice. According to the autopsy report, the victim was hit by the same object both times. So without a doubt, Pierce used it to commit the murder. The weapon used to kill Gloomsbury was... hit with the same object. I would say... yeah, Timekeeper. So... yeah. Because for one, it was hit with... Ellen. Or was it Soren? I can't remember who hit him with it, to begin with. But it's right next to him on the table. The candelabra, I don't even know where that was. The Timekeeper was the murder weapon. If Pierce struck the victim during that one single moment, then he must have used the Timekeeper. Come to think of it, wasn't it also used for something else during the reception? During the reception, the Timekeeper was also used for cutting of the time machine, the first startup of love. Boom, 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 boom. The Timekeeper had been activated. That's right, the Timekeeper had been activated during the reception. If we activate the Timekeeper again now, and find any trace evidence of the murder, that would be conclusive proof that Gloomsbury was killed during the reception. Oh-ho! The special ceremony took place during the reception in question. What kind of a special ceremony? It was called the first startup of love. Apparently, the couple activated the timekeeper for the first time during it. Does that mean the timekeeper here is in evidence isn't activated at the moment? And what would happen if we were to activate it? Why don't we see for ourselves? It would give us a chance to examine it. And while we're at it, we just might find some conclusive evidence. What? No, we can't activate it. Mr. Nickety, keep quiet or I'll have you thrown out of court. By the way, Mr. Wright, this is supposed to be a time machine, right? We aren't going to travel back in time to the Stone Age or anything, are we? I don't think we have to worry too much about that, Your Honor. I'm still a little nervous nonetheless, but the truth must be known. Very well, go ahead and start up the timekeeper. You know how, Nick? I think so, maybe. The bride and groom each had a symbol of their love, and when they put them together... Oh, how romantic it was. Okay. Let's see, I think the symbol of the groom's love must be the timekeeper itself. What symbol of the bride's love would fit together with the timekeeper? Oh, I know. That has to be it. Mr. Wright? Are you ready to activate the time machine now? Yes, Your Honor. The symbol of the bride's love that's... Pardon me. That's necessary for activating the timekeeper is Ellen's pendant.
Take that!
Miss Wyatt's pendant. Is the symbol of the bride's love that's necessary for activating the timekeeper. What? Then does that mean you can start it with Miss Wyatt's pendant? I believe so, Your Honor. Very well. Please try it now, Mr. Wright. Okay, here I go. But first I have to figure out where the pendant goes. Oh. Whoa. Wait a minute, if it's on that side, surely it would go here, would it not? Yeah. I would have put it here. I don't think this is the spot. Better try somewhere else. Okay. Oh wait, there it is. Never mind, I can see the hole. It goes next to it. This hole looks like a good spot. I'll try setting the pendant in here. Perfect. It fits. This must be the right spot. Now we have to find a place to insert the key. I'm looking. God, it's all over the place. I can examine it. This hole in the middle of the pendant. Could this be... Oh! Oh shit. That activates it. It worked! The timekeeper's been activated. Now all I have to do is find proof that the crime was committed during the reception. The blood? I think I found it. Conclusive evidence that the murder was committed during the wedding reception. Oh dear. Just as I suspected. There's evidence of the murder inside the timekeeper, Mr. Nickety. The timekeeper was only activated and opened during the wedding reception, right? No! Stop! So that means... this is conclusive proof that the crime was committed during the reception. After you killed the victim under the cover of the fog, you closed the timekeeper and hit the bloodstain, didn't you? Ah. The activated timekeeper, it's obvious that it was in this state when it was used on the victim. No, you're wrong. Ellen killed Bloomsbury. It wasn't me, I tell you. Jesus. Give it up, Mr. Nickety. How could the defendant, who was in the middle of pledging her love, have possibly committed the murder with everyone watching her? It was the family. Yes, all the family members conspired together to kill him. What on earth? There's no way you can talk your way out of this, Mr. Nickety. During the reception, during that one dreamlike moment, only one person could have used the time machine, the timekeeper, to beat the victim to death. And that one person was you, Pierce Nickety. What's his breakdown gonna be? Oof. Oh. No. This isn't over yet. I won't give up. Oh no, I cut the artery. This stupid thing. We must stop the bleeding now. Give me forceps. Forceps, I said. Hey, where is everyone? Fine. I'll manage this alone. I'll do it all by myself. I can fix anything, repair anything. So you have to get about... You have to live. You must. I would have been able to save her. If only I hadn't listened to her. If only I had treated her first. If only that Soren hadn't been there. Selena. No. Oh dear. Oh, she did say to take care of Soren. That's kind of tragic. Witness, are you finally ready to tell us the truth? It's just as the lawyer deduced. So it was all a revenge scheme against Soren Sprocker. Do you have any idea how hard it is to lose someone you love? Right in front of you? Selena's condition was clearly more critical than Soren's. But in spite of that, she said... Please help Soren. Miss Sprocket's last words. So that's what she really meant by those words. I was able to grant her wish, but at the price of her life. So you got a job with Sprocket Aviation and waited for your chance to get revenge. You got close to Mr. Gloomsbury and hatched this plot, is that right? Gloomsbury already bore a grudge against Soren. So when I tempted him with an even better position, he immediately took the bait. He was your accomplice, someone who shared the same goal as you. Why was it necessary for you to kill him? I didn't expect Soren to strike Gloomsbury out on the Vista deck. And I certainly never imagined he'd make his way there along the outside wall. Soren's love is the real deal after all. My plan had been compromised, so for the time being, I hid his body in the lantern, and tried to think of my next move. And then Mr. Gloomsbury came to during the second wedding reception. As soon as I saw Gloomsbury, I instantly hit upon an idea. To pin the blame of Gloomsbury's murder on Ellen. You tried to break up the couple by making the bride out to be a murderer. How despicable. Soren was getting the company and a wedding. Both things that were supposed to be Selena's. He took every happiness from her. Who's the despicable one here? Do you think what you did would make her happy? I know I wouldn't. I know it wouldn't. But I couldn't just stand by, watching Soren enjoy his happiness. I was going to have Soren taste the same pain I had, and then take over Sprocket Aviation. I would take back from him all of the happiness that was rightfully Selena's. Time stopped for me the day I lost her. Just like this pocket watch of hers. P.S. Miss Wyatt? I believe Selena would have said, "Leave this ill will behind. Your time is yours to live." It's too late for me. Time will never advance for me ever again. Chick? Why did that say chick? What? It can't be. What the fuck? Oh, it started again. I see now, Selena. What I did was wrong. Oof. I see no further need to continue this trial. Bailiff, please take Mr. Nickety away. Here's Nickety, another inconsolable time traveller, who lived in time that stood still. Huh. Oh, we did it. Woo! God, it took 3 hours to get through that. God. Now then, I must render my verdict regarding the defendant. Your Honour, before you give your ruling, would you please allow me a moment? Very well. Wait, what's happening? Ellen, there's something I need to say to you. Yes, Soren? I put you through something truly horrible. This whole thing has happened, all because of me. I would understand if you wanted to call off our marriage. What? Of course not. I've never once thought that. If you stay with me, you'll only face even more trying times in the future. What do you mean? Because of his memory issues? The truth of this incident, and the car accident before it. I'm going to tell the public everything. Oh, that he was at fault. I expect the company's reputation will suffer, and I'll take a lot of criticism. But I feel I can only really start over once I get everything out in the open. Soren. After all that's happened, I might not have the right to ask you this, but... Well, how should I say this? Maybe I'll just... write it. Of course. Oh, wait. A life with me probably won't be very easy, but... Will you marry me? Aww. Oh god, don't cry. Aww. Yes, of course. Hey, a happy ending after all. Your Honour, thank you for this time. Please, continue with your ruling. Very well. But first, I have one question. Do the two of you pledge your... Oh my god. Pledge your eternal love for each other to the goddess of justice. Is that Themis? Themis? I do, Your Honour. I do. Does the prosecution... What the fuck is this? Does the prosecution or defense, or the defense have any objections? Well done, Your Honour. No, no objections here. The defense has no objections either, Your Honour. This court finds the defendant Ellen Wyatt... Ah, that's not right. This court finds the defendant Ellen Sprocket not guilty. Oh, that was clever. That was quite a cool... That was quite a cool thing. Oh, look at her. We did it. So, the special case is about 6 hours. Not a bad length. The shortest trial was, 4th Turnabout Storyteller. That was only like a 3-hour case. This court is adjourned. Or was it more? I can't remember. Oh yeah, this game is the longest game in the series, by a long shot. This game, given like how long it's... or how long the session has been, this game is about 42 and a half hours long, which beats out Investigations 2 by a long shot. It also beats out Dual Destinies. I didn't realise Dual Destinies was 37 hours. Crazy how time flies when you're playing good games. Ellen? Soren, congratulations. Mr. Wright, I can't thank you enough. If you hadn't exposed the truth, Soren and I wouldn't... But now you can finally start your new life together, right? Oof. Oh no. Oh, thank you. Mr. Wright, we'll be holding our real wedding ceremony in the near future. Would you do us the honour of coming to it? I want you to witness our fresh start. Of course, I wouldn't miss it for the world. And Ellen, this time, it'll finally be happily ever after, right? Oh yes. The two of you have persevered and overcome this trial together. Now, no matter what obstacles come your way, I'm sure you'll be able to handle them. And there's another thing I'm sure of too. This person will always be watching over the two of you. Oh, it'll be the sister.
Take that!
Selena. Yes, I think you're right. And we promise to live life to the fullest, for Selena's sake too. Right, Soren? That's right. Well, we better be on our way. Yes, my love. Ah. Whoa. Wow, the old threshold carry, huh? Way to show off. We'll be seeing you. Goodbye for now. I'll be looking forward to that wedding. Hold on tight, Ellen. You better believe I will. I'm never letting you go. Oh. Yeah, I forgot he had that on his back. Eesh. There they go. You're not thinking of going to that wedding by yourself, are you, boss? Hey! You're taking us too, right? Oh boy, I bet there's gonna be all kinds of fancy food there. Athena, when did you get here? Just now. I would have been here to cheer you guys on earlier, but Shruti never gave me a chance to slip away. You're going to be in even bigger trouble with her later. Speaking of the wedding, maybe I should ask them to invite Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, really? But he thought Ellen was guilty all the way to the end. That may be true, but... Don't even bother, his claim is dead on arrival. Victory's within your grasp, prosecutor. Quiet, witness. I have no interest in victory. All I care about is the truth. One that we can only arrive at through further deliberation. He hasn't changed. If he hadn't stood up for us when he did, the trial would have probably ended there. Or probably would have ended there. You mean Mr. Edgeworth gave us that chance? Maybe. Though knowing him, I doubt he'd ever tell, even if I asked. Well, if that's how you feel about it, Nick, then why not try to get him invited? Hey Maya. Have you ever tried to catch the bouquet? What? No. I never have either. Fighting over a bouquet that's been tossed by the bride. Talk about a fierce competition. I'm totally stoked. I'm not sure it's really supposed to be all that competitive. I'm a pretty good jumper, so I think I've got a chance. She's definitely missing the point of the whole thing. And Larry, how did you manage to stay so quiet for so long? But... Shut up. Wishing the lady you fell in love with every happiness is what a real man does. I'm pretty sure that relationship was over before it even began, Larry. Darn it all, if only I was 10 years younger, things would have gone differently. Hands of time, why wouldn't you turn back for me? My god, so now we get a cutscene. I'm guessing? Maybe not, crap. Oh no, this probably is going to be the cutscene. The mooring dock. Today is Ellen and Soren's third wedding ceremony and reception. I heard the bride and groom insisted it be on the Flying Chapel again. In the end, they were nice enough to invite me and Maya. And Athena kind of invited herself. They also invited Edgeworth, Emma, and even Larry. They say third time's the charm, right? I really do hope it's happily ever after for them this time around. Still, I get the feeling it's going to be one rowdy party. There we go. Now it'll be the cutscene. I'm just waiting for that bar to disappear. There we go.
Ready
Perfect.
when you are.
What the fuck?
Okay, here we go. Huh?
Wait. Oh, it's Larry.
Oh, hey! Look who's next! Huh?
Oh my god.
I'm truly blessed to have you.
I was not expecting it to sound like that. Holy crap. That was incredible. Oh, there we go. That was a nice special case. And there it is. That's actually gonna be the end of Spirit of Justice. What a game. I don't know if I'd say it's my favourite Ace Attorney, but it's up there. Case 5, I'd probably say, is my favourite case in the entire series. It's just so good. There was a few things in it that I wouldn't say that didn't make sense, but even still, it was really well done. And the twists and the turns. Well, there we go. I did it. So now I'm done with Spirit of Justice. Next up is The Great Ace Attorney, which I'm really looking forward to, because it's one that was never released in the West. But there we go. So that's going to be the end of Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this adventure, and until next time, take care. And for those who stopped by the stream, thanks for stopping by, it's much appreciated. Have a good day, and I'll see you next stream.